lot colder, and we're going to have even more snow in the forecast, so I am enjoying the 29 degrees while we have them. My name's Haley Spittler. I'll be with you here for the next 2 hours, and then we have Kim Murphy taking over at 2:30. She'll get you guys to 3:30 today. If you've never tuned into the Wisconsin Live Desk before, we monitor these things behind me, which we call feeds, and that's how we're able to bring you live news as it happens, both here in Milwaukee, really across the Badger State, even across the country, and sometimes the world. Wherever news is happening, we're going to bring it to you in the moment. So I do want to do a little bit of a roundup and kind of take you through the feeds we have currently and kind of the big headlines that we've already seen happen this Tuesday. So we're going to start with, this is a live feed right now in the hallway of the Senate. We are expecting at some point to have a Senate leadership press conference, which should take place right there at that podium. So we, of course, will keep our eye on this feed, and we'll bring you there if and when that starts. Also taking a live look here at D.C. You can see no snow on the ground there. It did snow a few days ago, but obviously not enough to really accumulate. A little bit of wind as we see the flag there move in. That crane on the left-hand side of the screen, that is where the ballroom construction is happening. It's been going on for a while. It is several million, if not hundreds of millions of dollars, that construction for a new ballroom under President Trump's kind of leadership there. There are some big headlines coming out of kind of D.C., but really New York is a federal judge there. But I want to let you know about what a judge granted earlier this morning, and that is they have granted the Justice Department's request to unseal Ghislaine Maxwell records in her sex trafficking case. So Ghislaine Maxwell is the former girlfriend of Jeffrey Epstein, who was found guilty of child sex trafficking charges back in 2021 and is currently serving a 20-year prison sentence. Obviously, recently there's been a big call for transparency and an unsealing of a lot of documents when it comes to Jeffrey Epstein. We're still waiting for the unsealment of his 2019 case. We also just recently got some releases from a judge out of Florida who, this was in an early 2000s case that never ultimately went to a jury, but we got those from Jeffrey Epstein. Again, now we should be able to get these Ghislaine Maxwell records, which should be hundreds, if not thousands, of new documents that have previously been not available to the public. And because of the passage last month of the Epstein Files Transparency Act, these have to be made public within 10 days. So that would be December 19th. Obviously, we'll keep our eye on that here on the Wisconsin Live Desk and bring you any sort of updates when those files do come down. We did hear from Maxwell's lawyer, who said his client took no position about the requested unsealing, so it doesn't sound like she was for or against it, but obviously big news there. It sounds like the government has been in talks as well with the survivors of these cases as well as their lawyers. So big headline there. Another big headline that I saw come down this morning was in regards to the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Obviously, President Trump has been working for a while now to kind of broker a peace deal between Russia and Ukraine to end this years-long war. It did sound like there started to be some movement made in reaching some sort of a peace deal. I know Marco Rubio has been heavily involved in this process. The most recent that we have heard from Volodymyr Zelensky, again, that is the Ukrainian president, is him reaffirming his refusal to cede land to Russia. So doesn't sound necessarily like the peace deal has been reached, because he is holding firm that he will give no land to Russia. But if and when something happens in that case, obviously, or that, excuse me, that kind of peace deal brokering, we will absolutely bring that to you right here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. Another thing I want to bring you right now, which isn't that exciting of a feed, you might be wondering, why are we looking at a ceiling fan right now? This is inside a Massachusetts courtroom, which right now is in a break. So it's kind of lunchtime. So what they do with the cameras is they leave them up, but they point them to this ceiling fan to let you know that they are in a break. But we are now in week 2 of a pretty national case that's really making headlines. It is the murder case of Brian Walsh, who is being charged with the murder of his wife. Now, he has already pleaded guilty to kind of hiding her body, but has always maintained his innocence when it comes to killing and dismembering her body. So he is currently on trial right now for her murder. Again, we are now in the second week, and it'll be up to a jury to decide kind of what they think Brian Walsh did or did not do. Occasionally here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, we'll dip into that trial if we see a witness on the stand or any testimony being given. Obviously right now they are in that break, which is why it is a ceiling fan. But of course, if that picks back up in the next few hours and we have time to dip into it, we absolutely will. But we really do try and keep the stories as much as we can to here in Wisconsin, and we have a chock full couple of hours coming up for you. I know Delaney and I are so excited to get to talk to the holiday train. That interview is coming up in the next hour. They are currently making their way to southeastern Wisconsin. They've got stops in Sturtevant and Caledonia tonight, Wauwatosa tomorrow, but we get to go inside the train. They're going to Zoom while they make their way to us and kind of let us know more about this holiday tradition, which I've never gotten to partake in, but it's so fun. They show up at these towns. They kind of open the side of the train. There's a couple of musical artists who will do a free concert as you celebrate the Christmas season, and it's a great way to give back. They collect donations, both physical, tangible donations, as well as they collect monetary donations for local food banks. So a great way to celebrate the Christmas season with your neighbors in your community and also give back. So we're super excited to chat with them. It's also Tuesday, which means we'll get to chat with the Milwaukee Admirals. We are so excited about this week. It's actually Fox night coming up on Saturday. Some of the Fox 6 crew will be there. Hint, that includes Delaney and me. And we're really excited to give out some rally towels and get to participate in some of the events at that game as they take on the Chicago Wolves. But they got a couple of games before that, so we'll get the whole lowdown. And of course, we'll also check in with our reporters who are busy working on their stories today, which they'll turn in their full capacity later on Fox Local. We are talking Hannah Dugan, of course, that is the judge that is going to trial next week in a case that has really gripped the nation's attention, talking a lot about immigration and what the stance is right now in our country. We'll be talking with Greendale High School. You know, it's a time of year where it's not only holiday season, but it's when a lot of football teams, collegiate football teams, go bowling. And I always think most people know at least the Rose Bowl. Well, they're going to get to perform in the Rose Parade. So she's talking to some of the different students there and the band directors. That'll be a really fun interview. We're also going to continue to talk about kind of food insecurity. Obviously, when the government shut down back in October, we saw a lot of people step up to help food pantries. We even saw the city kind of come up with $150,000 in funding to help that gap, fill that gap. So we're going to see what they did ultimately with that money. Abril Preciado's on that story. So we have a lot coming up for you here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. One thing we always like to chat as well, of course, it is football season. We are in Wisconsin, and I always like to say I'm a selfless Chicago Bears fan because we'll talk about the Green Bay Packers. We're taking a live look right here in Lambeau, where yesterday we actually watched a lot of that snowfall in real time. It looked stunning to see the snow falling because I love looking at snow when I'm inside. I don't necessarily like seeing the snow when I'm outside. Green Bay Packers obviously coming off their victory against the Chicago Bears on Sunday, but now they get ready to go actually to Colorado. They're taking on the Denver Broncos next. I'm thinking most people are expecting this. Actually, I don't know. I don't know what people are thinking as far as who will walk away with the victory. Obviously, here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, we're always going to root for the Green Bay Packers. And then it'll be really interesting because after that, it's back to that big rivalry. Bears and Packers playing yet again. That time it will be at Soldier Field. Obviously, you always play your division rivals, both home and away. But this seems so interesting, just how quickly the two teams are facing off against each other. They only had a week break in between, so we'll have to see what happens. Either the Packers will take the kind of whole series, for lack of a better term, or it'll be 1-1 this year if the Bears can pull off that victory at home. And if so, both teams won at home. So a lot to monitor when it comes to football. I had probably been a little quiet the last couple of weeks. You might have noticed about my fantasy football team. Usually I come in here and I like to brag about how well I'm doing in fantasy football. It's my first year playing it. And you guys, I have I have struggled the last 2 weeks. I'm not going to lie. I've lost 2 weeks in a row. It is the very first time all season long that I've dropped 2 weeks in a row. But I will say the 49ers had their bye week last week. I have Christian McCaffrey on my team. He is my star running back. He's been the most consistent player for me in terms of points. So not having him this last week, it hurt, but it's okay. Because 2 weeks ago, I actually already clinched at least going to the playoffs. So even though I've dropped a few games here, that's all good. I've been able to learn, what quarterback I think I'm going to go with, because that's been a big saga as well. I drafted Joe Burrow as my kind of number 1 seed quarterback, and then unfortunately he hurt himself for a very long time, so I had to go to my bench quarterback, which is Caleb Williams off the Bears. And Caleb Williams, he either does so great or he does so bad with fantasy. So then I ended up picking up Brock Purdy, who is the 49ers quarterback, who had also been hurt. So somebody had kind of dropped him because of the injury, and I said, well, maybe I can grab him and see who I can play here. But since Joe Burrow has been back, I have played in the last 2 weeks, and he's done a great job. So I think we're going to stick with that plan with Joe Burrow, because they almost beat the Bills, which would have been great, because I'm also in a picks league. And I was like one of 2 people that picked the Bengals over the Bills, and I thought I was going to have the upset, and then unfortunately the Bills came back, or fortunately if you're a Josh Allen or a Buffalo Bills fan. So that's kind of your football lineup there. Again, obviously getting ready that game on Sunday against the Broncos, 3:25, but we usually get to chat with Tim Van Voren, our sports director at Fox 6 on Wednesday, so we'll make sure and get his kind of take on what happened last Sunday and what he's looking forward to next Sunday as we continue to be in this NFL season. Obviously, the Green Bay Packers, by defeating the Bears, are now first in the NFC North. So lots of big stories, big headlines to get to there. All right, hey, we're going to take a quick break here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, and then we will be back with more news in just a couple minutes. Stay with us.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Hey you guys, welcome back into the Wisconsin Live Desk this Tuesday afternoon. It is 12:45 here in Milwaukee, 29 degrees. Let's take a live look outside. Delaney is telling me this is Red Arrow Park, and we're going to trust Delaney because she has grown up here her entire life. But I'm so excited because ice skating rink, I love to go ice skating. I have discovered, I think it's a Midwestern skill set. I grew up in the Chicago suburbs. Where am I an ice skater, like a figure skater? Absolutely not. But can I stand up and stay on my skates and not fall the entire time? I can, which I just spent the last 3 years in South Carolina, and that massively impressed people, which always kind of made me laugh just a smidge. So 'tis the season to go out and to do all sorts of those holiday activities, maybe lace up some skates, or maybe you are one of those people that were out on a sled a couple of Saturdays ago when we got all that snow in. Maybe you like to do the Christmas lights. There's so many things to do, and honestly I feel like so little time. I cannot believe Christmas is just 2.5 weeks away, so I'm going to definitely be trying to get my calendar full of all sorts of Christmas events and Christmas activities that we can do. I'm trying to see what other cameras we have right now, if there's anything super interesting going on in downtown Milwaukee. Okay, this one's kind of fun. This is our Estabrook camera, where sometimes we just get to see really cool things with the clouds. I mean, obviously you can kind of see it's a little bit foggy out there right now. This camera is shaking a bit, but I don't know if that's, I think it was just the camera because now it's calming down. But of course, you just see a lot of the snow right there. We have been hit a lot lately with that white stuff, so hopefully you are a fan of it. If you are not, I got bad news for you. There's more coming, but hey, our weather experts, they've got you covered. I wanted to let you know they are going to have extended coverage for you today on Fox Local. So whether you're watching the Wisconsin Live Desk right now on Fox Local or on YouTube, or maybe you're watching on fox6now.com, they'll have you covered there with that extended coverage, as well as on our TikTok. And they plan on doing that really once our evening newscasts end until our newscasts begin again. So that's from 6:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. Obviously, we are expecting cold temperatures, we're expecting more snow, and there's a big question about the potential for ice as well. So we'll keep you covered with all sorts of weather coverage, both this extended edition we've got coming up, as well as we're hoping to catch our weather expert Holly later on here on the Wisconsin Live Desk too, so we can get another look at kind of the forecast today, as well as upcoming in this afternoon. But we did talk a little bit here on the Wisconsin Live Desk yesterday. A pretty substantial trial is slated to begin next week. Jury selection is just a couple days away, and that is the trial of Judge Hannah Dugan. I know you heard from Jason Calvi a little bit yesterday about this trial. You heard from Brian Polson about this trial. We are going to continue to get you ready of what you can expect. We'll have coverage for you every single day next week on the Wisconsin Live Desk as it's going on, but we know you might still have some questions just setting up the scene for this trial to begin. So our very own Jason Calvi, I'm going to go ahead and bring him in. He is once again working on a story today, getting you ready for this trial. And it really, you know, we keep talking about these different players, Jason, and different judges it involves. I know today your story really is about Judge Carl Ashley and a lack of a policy. Jason, tell us a little bit more about what you're working on right now.
Yeah, so he's the chief judge of the Milwaukee County courtroom or courthouse. He oversees the judges. He's the chief judge here in Milwaukee County. His office is right behind me here. And just a few moments ago, I actually had a chance to speak with him. It was sort of an impromptu discussion with him. And I asked him about the policy that he's still drafting. He's been working on this now for about 8 or more months. Since that since the situation happened with Judge Dugan. So if I can just give you a lay of the land here inside the courtroom, Chief Judge's office is back there. Judge Hannah Dugan's courtroom is right here. This is where all that activity took place back in April, where she's now facing those federal charges for what happened in and around her courtroom. And that was just one room down from where the chief judge is. So the chief judge has been telling us since April that he's working on a policy for how court officials, like court judges and court staff, should interact with immigration agents who might decide to show up at the courthouse. So he's been working on that, and I just spoke with him, impromptu meeting with him in his office, and he said it's still a draft right now. I said, well, is it going through the Supreme Court of Wisconsin? What's the timeline? He said, well, just wait a few more weeks. And then I said, well, a few more weeks? You mean maybe after the trial? And he kind of gave me an indication without saying yes, but he kind of gave me an indication that had the bingo answer there, that, yeah, wait until after that trial to release this policy for how judges and court officers here in Milwaukee County will interact with immigration agents.
Jason, it is so interesting just to see the two courtrooms right there behind you and how close they are together. I know your goal going down there today was to be able to talk to Chief Judge Carl Ashley. You were able to do that in this impromptu meeting. Sounds like maybe you got some sort of answers. What was his tone when speaking to you about this subject?
Well, you know, Brian Polston worked on this story yesterday and brought this issue up to our audience here on Fox Local, talked with you, Haley, I believe, or talked with one of our other hosts here, and I don't think he talked with you, but he talked with us in the late afternoon yesterday and laid out that timeline for what was going on, to seeing the interactions and between federal agents and Milwaukee County judges and the like. And Brian brought up the fact that there's still no firm policy on the books here for Milwaukee County, and that's exactly where we stand right here, almost 9 months after that Judge Dugan case took place in and around her courtroom in this hallway right here in the courthouse.
So it sounds like, and again, nothing was said by the chief judge, but potentially this policy might be coming down once the trial of Hannah Dugan is over, which I don't want to skip too many steps. I know we had the background yesterday, but in case anyone didn't tune into the live desk yesterday, Jason set the scene of what charges this judge Hannah Dugan is facing and what exactly is alleged that she did.
Sure. So what happened, according to the federal criminal complaint, according to the FBI, as well as the grand jury saying that, yeah, she has to face these federal charges, is that there were federal immigration agents, including ICE and other agents, waiting outside of her courtroom. There was going to be a man who was going to have a hearing inside of this courtroom, and so they were going to wait to potentially apprehend him after that court hearing inside Judge Dugan's courtroom. So this was all taking place in April. And then what ended up happening was the agents, according to the video, according to the criminal complaint, Judge Dugan went up to the agents, asked them some questions, and then told them finally to go to Chief Judge Carl Ashley's office, which again is right behind her courtroom here. So that's what the feds allege in the criminal complaint, as well as the FBI testimony as well. But there was one federal agent who waited outside of the courtroom who was kind of blended in here with the situation. And so those agents went in to talk to the chief judge or to wait for him to make time for them. And then according to the criminal complaint, and also you can see this in some of the surveillance video, Judge Dugan then escorted that man through, I don't know if you can see, Tanner, this door here. I don't know if the camera is able to show, but this is the door, the public door for Judge Dugan's courtroom right here. It's right now locked. And interesting enough, I'll talk about the sign here on the door. It says, if any attorney, witness coordinator, or other court official knows or believes that a person feels unsafe coming to the courthouse, please notify the branch 31 clerk to request court appearance via Zoom. That was posted April 14th. So after there had already been arrests in this courthouse. So the doors here in Judge Dugan's courtroom are now locked. This is the public entrance for that courtroom. According to the criminal complaint, Judge Dugan took the gentleman, going to pan over, took him through a non-public doorway, which is a jury door, which I believe is right here, non-public. You guys can come through, thank you.
Jason, I think this is actually so helpful for our viewers. I think we've heard a lot about what happened in this courtroom, but for you to paint the picture and for us to really see, I mean, the public-facing doors versus the jury door to really help us illustrate what happened, or at least what's alleged to have happened back in April. Obviously, a lot of people say that your story, this federal immigration policy, had it been in existence back then, maybe this whole thing could have been avoided. So I'm curious, if this policy comes down in a couple of weeks, what will it really change for the future when it comes to these types of things happening in courthouses?
Yeah, I think that's really an open question as far as what that's going to mean for the future of judges interacting with immigration officials. I know looking at the documents in other states where they've had maybe the Chief Justice in a particular state issuing a protocol for how state judges should interact with immigration officials in those states, there is a kind of a protocol with where the ICE officials, like top leadership of that maybe regional office, would be in touch with the court ahead of time to alert them that this is going to be happening. We want to make an arrest in your particular courthouse. According to some of those other policies, those immigration officials are supposed to, once they get into the courthouse, are to alert security about what's happening and then move out from there. You know, public hallway here, lots of people want to come in and out, so just give us a second here as people are moving in and out of this public hallway. But again, that's the point, is that this is a public hallway. So even though, according to the criminal complaint, Judge Dugan brought the gentleman through the jury door, it does enter into this public hallway here at the Milwaukee County Courthouse.
Yeah, again, I think this has been so helpful for anybody who's maybe more of a visual learner to really understand the different kind of caveats of what was said to have happened here, seeing those doors, being in this hallway. Obviously a huge story, Jason. I know you're working on it today. We'll continue to have more coverage of this all week long, and of course as well next week when that trial does get underway. We will keep our eyes peeled for your full story later on at Fox Local. But Jason, thanks so much for joining us here on the Wisconsin Live Desk this afternoon.
Thanks, Haley.
Again, that is kind of the very latest as we continue to get ready for Judge Hannah Dugan's trial next week, talking a little bit more about this potential policy for ICE and federal agents showing up to a county courthouse in the future. Jason being able to talk there off camera to the Chief Judge, Carl Ashley, which was his goal going down to the courthouse today. Again, the Chief Judge didn't say that a policy would be coming down after the trial ended, but Jason said that's kind of what he thought he was getting at, that wait a few weeks and you should see this policy that's been in the works now for really the last 8 months. So big story. We know there's national attention on this trial. And again, I just want to reiterate it. Next week, the Wisconsin Live Desk, we have you covered when it comes to this trial. From 12 to 4, actually, Brian Polson and Carl Deffenbaugh and Ted Perry and so many of our reporters, Jason Calvi included. I'll be here in the Wisconsin Live Desk office as well. We'll have you covered from every sort of angle. It is a federal trial, which means we're not able to stream it. So you won't be able to go and watch that trial anywhere, but we are going to still bring you that trial. We have reporters in the courthouse. We will let you know what they're hearing and what they are seeing. Of course, Ted Perry will be able to watch the trial. He'll be joining us constantly, letting us know what's going on in that courtroom. We have plenty of experts that are joining us as well, so we will have you covered every step of the way when it comes to the Hannah Dugan trial. So make sure and stay with us here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. Obviously, we're kind of getting you ready, getting a lot of that background information this week. Jury selection does start on Thursday, and then Monday we'll have full kind of coverage of that trial for you here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. All right, we are going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back with more news for you coming up in just 2 minutes.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk. It's Haley Spittler with you here at 101 on your Tuesday afternoon. Obviously a very big story just a month ago was the government shutdown. We'll take a live look here again in DC, which ended up going on for a record amount of days. It was more than 40 days the government was shut down as really kind of different leaders in Congress couldn't see eye to eye. Republicans and Democrats not able to agree on a short-term funding plan to get the government back open. And during that time, many people were worried about certain programs losing their funding. A huge one, obviously, was SNAP. Those programs that really help to fight food insecurity on a national stage, but also, of course, really here in our community. During that time, we saw many people step up to help our local food pantries. We even saw, our county kind of transfer $150,000 from one fund to a different fund to help get some food for these programs. So I want to go ahead and check in with our very own Abril Preciado. Food insecurity, still kind of a conversation this holiday season, Abril. What's the latest that you're reporting on today?
You guys got coordination. You had a text message.
Abril, can you hear us?
You got information. You got it from Imani, so please give it a run.
Hey guys, so we're currently out here at Nourish and Play right now where volunteers just wrapped up packing up bags for, yes, can you guys hear me? Oh, so sorry. You guys can go ahead. I'm so sorry. We're in the middle of something, so right now we're just kind of going to work around it live. So yes, once again, we're out here at Nourish MKE where volunteers just finished wrapping up bags that they put together with food. We see them right here. These are just among the 350 that were put together today. These are some of the volunteers that were out here helping out, and I'm going to kind of take you guys over here on this side. Right now they're wrapping up after putting in a couple of hours into work to put those bags that I just showed you guys about. But pretty much this is what we're seeing, There are bags that they packed up with, canned goods, with essentials like butter, rice, and different things, many of these elements that we see right here today, proteins, just to be able to give to families. And these bags will be given tomorrow, actually, in a food distribution that will be taking place here tomorrow. So pretty much it was a whole group effort. We saw a lot of them kind of putting them together. And again, this is all to address the food insecurity in the area that we saw not only when food share was held on a pause, but also we continue to see right now with the holidays here and with rising prices of food as well. So this is pretty much what we're seeing.
Yeah. Abril, I feel like every holiday season we talk about the need for donations when it comes to food banks and people fighting food insecurity. I don't know if Abril can hear us. She might have lost her connection. Oh, I don't think Abril can hear us. That's okay. We will check back in with her later since I think that she's kind of struggling a little bit to hear us. But, of course, we'll catch her full story later on Fox Local as we continue to talk about food insecurity. And, again, we saw the county earlier this year, just last month, or might have been October, they approved a $150,000 transfer from the county's kind of contingency fund to instead go to the Department of Health and Human Services to help kind of fix this gap or fill the gap of what the funding was needed while SNAP wasn't getting funded by the government. And I know a lot of the local food pantries at the event Abril is at are kind of speaking about how that money did help them get food on the table for their clients. And obviously, it's so cool to see the community step up back then, but continue to step up this holiday season and get people food that they need on their table. So, again, wasn't able to ask any questions to Abril. It sounded like she had a couple issues hearing us. Make sure and catch her full story coming up later on Fox Local. I'm sure we'll be able to hear from several of those different food pantries that were kind of on hand at the event today as they pack those bags and get more food on the table for different clients. As again, Christmas just 2.5 weeks away, which is crazy. But yeah, I do want to go ahead and do kind of another roundup of the different feeds that we're looking at here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. I've been heavily kind of showing the White House in D.C., of course, big news with Ghislaine Maxwell. If you missed it in the last half an hour, we learned this morning that a federal judge has ruled for the Department of Justice to be able to release the documents of Ghislaine Maxwell, the former girlfriend of Jeffrey Epstein's, kind of her sex trafficking case from 2021, and make those files public. There'll be hundreds, if not thousands, of documents that previously we did not have access to that we will now have access to, and we have to get them because of the Transparency Act that was passed by Congress last month. We have to get those files in 10 days. So by December 19th, we should be able to get that. We've also been keeping an eye on this feed, which I'm going to pull up for you here. This is a stakeout camera, as we're expected to hear from some Senate leaders. This is in the hallway there of the Senate. They're expected to hold a press conference at some point. We don't have a time, so we're just keeping our eye kind of on that feed. And of course, if and when anyone steps up to that podium, we'll bring it for you here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. The other really big story is the weather. Again, it's fun to see snow, but it can also lead to a dangerous situation when you're talking about commutes, when you're talking about, I mean, dangerously cold temperatures. We are expecting to see that later on in the week. We'll take another live look outside, but if you missed it, we will have you covered with weather, both here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. We should be able to hear from our weather expert at some point today in our afternoon newscast, and then we have extended weather coverage for you from 6:30 to 9 tonight, and then it will continue this evening. We're going to have our kind of new FOX6 truck on the road. It's decked out in cameras that we can show you the conditions in real time of what the roads are looking like. We'll do it again tomorrow morning, and with Wake Up, we know the commute is supposed to be just as messy tomorrow. So our weather experts and our team are here for you to show you what it's like out there if you need to hit the road. But again, if you don't need to travel, it's just one of those days that it's recommended to stay home if you can. We're expecting that snowfall, which can create, those slippery conditions, but then we're also expecting some frigid temperatures later on, which is why our weather experts are also kind of recommending that with this snowfall, to shovel it as quickly as possible, to get it off your car as quickly as possible, because if you leave it there for a couple of days, it will become ice, which then makes it so much harder to clean up. So again, we'll have you covered here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, as well as on Fox 6 and Fox Local, with all sorts of weather coverage for you as we get ready. I'm trying to think what if we can see here. This looks like Thursday morning. They're already kind of seeing those single-digit temperatures. This is Sky Vision Plus for Thursday at 6 a.m., which is when a lot of us begin our morning commute, and you'll see Milwaukee there, 9 degrees. And of course, this is kind of the snow forecast for tonight into tomorrow, where you can see Milwaukee is potentially, and it's kind of depending on where you're at, kind of in that 1 to 3 or kind of below an inch, but it's that mix, which that mix can be just as messy for your commute. So again, if you've got any questions about what to expect, our weather experts are here for you. We'll get you all the answers you could possibly need throughout today and throughout tomorrow morning. We'll have that snow, or our kind of new FOX6 truck, again, that's decked out and all sorts of cameras on the road for all of Wake Up, getting you the up-to-the-minute look of what the commute's looking like. It's expected to be a bit of a messy one. So another reminder as well, one of those days where I would set the alarm earlier if you need to hit the road, so you build in that cushion, you build in that extra time to take it slow on the road to make sure that you don't get in a sort of a crash or an accident. We've been covering a lot of them during the Wake Up commute just because of how slick the roads are, how icy they are. So definitely build in time if you can. All right, we'll take another break right here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. Coming up, we got to bring in Delaney. We haven't even talked to Delaney yet today, which makes my heart sad. She's like kind of smiling. She's not sad. Delaney's like, it's actually been a great day since I haven't had to chat with Haley much.
No, Haley, I love talking with you.
Oh, that's so nice. Delaney and I actually had a really busy morning. So normally, it's funny, Gino, who's our Hollywood expert here at Fox 6, he always jokes that when he walks in, it's his show, which is just Delaney and I catching up. But we were busy because we had a lot of meetings this morning. So we said, we have no nonsense time, no Haley Delaney time today. So I feel deprived.
I know, we haven't gotten to talk as much today.
Yeah, that's where we chat on the Wisconsin Live Desk to really catch up. So we'll have to do question of the day at some point so we can chit-chat a little bit.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. All right, well, since I already pulled you up, I'm going to make you send us to break.
We'll be back after this short break.
Thanks, Delaney.
Wisconsin Live Desk.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk. It is Haley Spittler with you here at 1:13. I'll be with you until 2:30 here on the Live Desk, and then Kim Murphy will take over. She'll have you all the way covered until 3:30, and then of course we'll do the whole thing again tomorrow. You can always catch the Wisconsin Live Desk 3 hours every single weekday, 12:30 to 3:30. I do really quickly want to dip into the Senate floor. There's a hearing right now going on for online safety. So we're going to listen in here just for a minute or two, and then we're going to switch gears and talk holiday train. But let's listen in together and see what we can learn.
A promise that when federal lands limit local tax revenue, Congress will stand with rural communities and school districts so that they can continue to provide the basic essential services that every American family deserves. Rural communities across the country and in New Mexico know this story well. In Catron, Grant, Sierra, and Otero counties, in my district, national forests define our landscape, and they define who we are. They are the treasures that we value and protect, yet those beautiful lands also mean fewer taxable acres, fewer revenue streams for public schools, and fewer resources to maintain the roads that our families travel every day. For more than 20 years, SRS helped close that gap. It ensured that public schools could keep teachers in the classroom, that buses could run safe routes on rural roads, and that county governments could plan long-term budgets with certainty. It ensures that children growing up in frontier communities receive the same shot at a quality education as anyone in major cities in my district like Albuquerque or Las Cruces. It ensures that when there was a medical emergency in the middle of the night, that emergency medical services had the roads that they needed to save lives. That stability vanished when SRS expired in 2024. Rural counties across the West, including mine, were forced to make impossible decisions. In New Mexico alone, our communities lost more than $9 million in a single year.
Okay, so we have been listening in here on the Senate floor. You know, it says on our feed that this is online safety. He seems to be talking a little bit more about infrastructure there, especially for more rural communities. But of course, we'll keep our eye here on the Senate floor, as well as in that hallway shot that I showed you before, where we are expected to hear from some Senate leaders. Obviously, the crowd has certainly been growing around that podium, so we will keep our eye on this feed as well here on the Live Desk and let you know if anyone steps up and start speaking to members of the media, and we'll bring it to you live here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. But I am so excited because the holiday train is making its way to southeastern Wisconsin. I know I've mentioned it before. I live in Wauwatosa. We get our very own stop tomorrow, so I am so excited to bring in Terry with the CPKC holiday train. He's joining us actually from the train right now as it makes its way to us here in southeastern Wisconsin. Terry, thanks so much for joining us here on the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course. Okay, so for anybody who has never heard of the holiday train or been able to catch one of your stops before, tell us a little bit more about what you guys do.
Sure. So the holiday train comes into the community fully lit up, thousands of lights and music playing as we come into each one of our communities. And then when we make our stop, one of the stage doors opens up, and then we'll have two wonderful acts tonight and throughout the holiday train experience in Wisconsin. We have American authors and Pinkbeard, and each musician will perform some of their greatest hits and of course some of the wonderful Christmas songs that we all know and love. And during that free 30-minute experience, they'll be singing some songs, getting the crowd energized, and at the same time it's just an opportunity to celebrate the holiday season with your friends and family. So we're excited and we can't wait to start the shows this evening.
I feel like, you know, this time of year, it's always so magical, but it can also start getting a little bit expensive. So it's so nice to find these kind of free events to go out with our friends and our family too. And I know this is actually the 27th year of the holiday train. Why is it so important for you guys to do this year after year?
Yeah, you bet. As you mentioned, it is our 27th year, but the real message behind the holiday train is giving back to the community. And we've been very fortunate in doing that. During our 27 years, we've teamed up with hundreds of communities across North America to help support food insecurity. And that's what we're doing again this year. We're visiting 196 communities across Canada and the United States during our 4-week tour. And each stop, we're teaming up with a local food bank to help raise awareness and collect food donations for that local food bank. And that's what we're hoping that everyone who comes out to one of our shows this week in Wisconsin does. Just bring a non-perishable food item to help support those in need in your community. Everything we collect will be staying local and supporting your friends and neighbors during this holiday season.
Yeah, I think it's so cool. The holiday train is giving us this kind of free opportunity to get together and to hear some of our favorite songs. And then we also get the opportunity to give back, help fight food insecurity in our very own communities where the holiday train is stopping. As you mentioned, it's kind of a 4-week journey. So this train has been on the tracks, stopping in cities already since November 19th. How has it been going so far?
It's been fantastic. From talking to my colleagues who've also been on the train, we're seeing some fantastic crowds in each one of the stops that we've been at. The community is excited. There's been a lot of support, and I know from talking to the group here on the ground here in Chicago as we make our way into Wisconsin, there's a lot of excitement. The band's excited. They've already been rehearsing this morning. They can't wait to get out and begin the shows. So we're just looking forward to continuing that momentum as we get to each one of the shows, and looking forward to seeing everyone come out and help us celebrate the holiday season with the remaining 2 weeks of the shows going on.
I noticed behind you we can see some of the Christmas decorations from some ornaments, some garlands. It looks like maybe that's even some reindeer behind you there. Does it just put you in a cheery mood, Terry, to be surrounded by, Christmas stuff 24/7?
Yeah, it's fantastic. I know it's a great way to celebrate. And when you see this entire train lit up with, as I mentioned, thousands of lights, fully decorated inside and out, it definitely gets you into the holiday spirit. And that's what it's about. It's just helping celebrate the holidays, being part of the community, and celebrating with your friends and neighbors. So we're looking forward to seeing some positive turnouts with the remaining shows. And we can't wait to get into Wisconsin tomorrow. Or this evening, actually.
Yeah, I was saying you should be in Sturtevant, Caledonia tonight. Tomorrow we got Wauwatosa, so several opportunities for our viewers to get to stop and see the holiday train. You mentioned American authors. I would imagine they're going to have to sing Best Day of My Life. Very popular song by them. Do you have a favorite moment of like the 30-minute show with the holiday train when it stops in each city?
Well, the best part is when we get to get out and just see the excitement in the crowds as you make the stop into the community where everyone's waving and singing. And then when you hear the crowd start singing some of the songs with the musicians, it's just really a fantastic experience. And I know we're looking forward to bringing that excitement back into each one of these stops, and having talked to the musicians already. They're excited. They can't wait to perform, and they're looking forward to seeing, everyone out there celebrating as well, singing some of their songs with them. So it'll be a great time. We're encouraging everyone to come out. Hopefully the weather cooperates and we get a fantastic turnout to help support the local organizations that we're going to be working with in each one of the stops. So we can't wait to see everyone tonight.
I was going to say, actually, the 30-minute show time frame might be perfect for Wisconsin, since I don't want to stay outside too much longer than that. So that's perfect. I'll go. I'll be warm enough for 30 minutes. I'll feel the Christmas cheer. Hopefully, I'll make a difference by helping fight food insecurity in our community, and then we'll head home. But thank you so much, Terry, for joining us here on the holiday train as it's about to make its way to us here in Wisconsin. We're so excited to have you stop in today and tomorrow.
Great. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Of course. So fun. I love getting to feel in the Christmas season. And as I mentioned, Christmas this year has just crept up on me. I feel like I'm behind doing all sorts of those fun activities. So I'm so glad that the holiday train will be here today and tomorrow. Again, it's in Caledonia, in Sturtevant tonight. It's in Wauwatosa tomorrow. So you've got 3 opportunities to catch it. Delaney and I, a couple of weeks ago, were talking about American authors, because at first I didn't think I knew them. Then I was like, oh, I definitely know them. Best Day of My Life, I would argue, was like the song of the year when it came out. Delaney, you agreed. Once you heard Best Day of My Life, then you were like, oh, I know them.
Oh, yeah, but I didn't know until I heard the song.
Yes.
But yeah, the song was super popular when it came out.
So popular. But I didn't realize they also, I guess I should have thought this. As I've said before on the live desk, I've never gotten to see the holiday train. So this was all a learning experience for me. I didn't know what it really consisted of. But I should have thought that they would also be singing Christmas songs. I didn't even think about that. That makes me even more excited.
I know, it's really fun. I went
Yes.
last year.
And I feel like you went last year.
Yeah, to the holiday train.
Here's why I got sad, you guys. I was going to ask Lainey to go with me, but it's during her work day.
I know, I don't get to see it this year, so I'm kind of bummed. But I got to go last year.
Carrie, if you are watching, can you grant Delaney an early dismissal so that we can go to the holiday train? We will film content for the Wisconsin Live Desk. Slack us. We'll see, Delaney, if that works. But to his point, too, I'm looking at some pictures online, and even the outside of each train car is just decorated with lights. I love that the inside of, even that train car, which we wouldn't normally see, is still decorated.
I know, that was fun to see.
Yes, the
How
little reindeer
cute.
garland. So fun, so fun. All right, I think it's time for another quick break here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, and then pretty soon, hopefully, we're gonna be able to check in with Greendale High School, Delaney, because they're gonna get to head to California to participate in the Rose Parade.
I know, what a cool experience.
Also, I'm just jealous of anybody in January who gets to go to California because that's when I need a break from the cold temperatures.
That's true.
You know?
Yeah.
I'm okay with the cold temperatures through Christmas. Well, no, through New Year's Eve. And then January 1st hits and I go, well, now we can skip to spring.
Right? Like January and February are hard to get
and
through.
March and April. And then May, I'm finally okay.
Still got a while to go.
Still got a while to go. Still got a while to go. All right, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be back in 2 minutes. Stick with us.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Hey you guys, welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk. Time check for you. It is 1:26 on your Tuesday afternoon. I feel like today's flying. We've already almost done a whole hour of the Wisconsin Live Desk, and we still have more coming up for you here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, including chatting with the BBB, that's the Better Business Bureau, chatting with the Milwaukee Admirals. We're going to chat with Christina Van Zelst. Again, that's Greendale High School as they get ready to go to the Rose Parade and get to play, and I would argue one of the more famous parades that our country sees, so all sorts of fun things to get to here. Again, I want to take, and I should have prepared a camera for it, but I didn't. I want to take a live look outside here in Milwaukee. Let's head to Mitchell International Airport. We haven't shown this one yet. We are getting ready for just a messy day of weather later on today as well as tomorrow morning, really both your evening and your morning commute. We are expecting snow, freezing rain, ice, just a whole mess really of winter weather. So we just want you guys to be prepared. We will have our weather experts busy for you here on the live desk in a little bit. They'll be in our afternoon newscast. Then we'll have extended coverage for you. Let me pop that back up as well. This full screen here, just to let you know that we will have weather coverage extended from 6:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. tonight to get you prepared for what we're expecting, you know, here in our area. Again, I mean, no one wants to hear snow, freezing rain, ice, and a whole mess of winter weather in one conversation, but unfortunately that's what we're looking at. And we'll have you covered, of course, in our evening newscasts and in our wake up newscast tomorrow with our new kind of FOX6 truck on the road showing you what it looks like in the moment. But again, if you need to head outside tonight, tomorrow, please take it slow out there. We have reported on so many crashes already this year in the few snowstorms we've already had, and we would love to keep you safe. So if you could please just build in some extra time to your commute tonight or tomorrow, remind yourself to take it slow, to have patience, that you can make it to your destination safely. That is always, of course, the goal. When we started the Wisconsin Live Desk earlier on today, I kind of walked us through some of the big headlines, and one of them was the courthouse that's currently in Massachusetts for the Brian Walsh murder trial. Brian Walsh is a man who is currently accused of killing his wife. Again, he has already pleaded guilty to kind of hiding her body, but has always said and maintained his innocence, saying, I did not kill her. So this is now up to a jury to decide, did he also kill his wife? Her body has never been found. When we started the Wisconsin Live Desk, the camera was fan because they were on a lunch break. Since then, they have come back into the courtroom. We are hearing once again from witnesses. So we're going to listen in for a few minutes here on the Brian Walsh murder trial. You might have heard of this. This is a pretty big national case. And when we come back, I'll recap a little bit about what's happened in the courtroom the last couple of days to catch you up to speed. But let's listen in together here again. This is the Brian Walsh murder trial happening right now in Massachusetts.
Thing we could have in our body that has a nucleus, any cell that has a nucleus would have DNA in it.
And what of those is potentially found in a shoe?
From a shoe, it could be if there's a biological process that's deposited on there, that biological fluid could contribute DNA, or more typically for clothing and shoes, it would be from skin cells that are from wearing that shoe multiple times.
Do your results tell you what type of cells these came from?
No, they do not.
And do the individuals have to contribute the same type of cells?
No, they do not. One of the things that could cause a mixture of DNA profiles is if there's different types of cells from different individuals that are contributing to the same evidence item.
What is item 9-32.1.1?
That is a sample of an interior sleeve cuff of a Tyvek suit that was found in bag number 6 at 300 Forest Street.
And what was the DNA profile result for this item?
The DNA profile for this item was interpreted as a mixture of 3 contributors, including male DNA.
Were you able to come to a conclusion about the comparison to the known profile of Anna Walsh?
The DNA profile from this item is at least 4.8 nonillion times more likely if it originated from Anna Walsh and 2 unknown individuals than if it originated from 3 unknown unrelated individuals, and this provides support for an inclusion.
And were you able to come to a conclusion about the comparison to the known profile of Brian Walsh?
Yes, the DNA profile from this item is at least 100 trillion times more likely if it originated from Brian Walsh and 2 unknown individuals than if it originated from 3 unknown unrelated individuals, and this provides support for an inclusion.
So when you say things like this supply
Again, we are currently listening in here to the murder trial of Brian Walsh. It would appear they're going over some DNA evidence. As a reminder, Brian Walsh is charged and accused of murdering his wife, Anna Walsh, on New Year's Day, or at least around New Year's Day back in 2023. They spent a lot of time yesterday. We're now in week 2 of witness testimony. Yesterday, prosecutors spent a lot of time kind of retracing Brian's movements from the afternoon of January 1st through surveillance footage, as well as kind of tracking some of his cash purchases. And they say they also had some of Anna's colleagues testifying in this trial yesterday as far as their own search efforts to try and find Anna. This was January 4th. Then a few days later, after they say that Brian had called their office claiming that she was missing, one thing that the jury doesn't know, and I didn't realize, I'm learning this with you right now, that the jury didn't know this, is that Walsh has already pleaded guilty to illegally disposing of his wife's body and misleading police after her death, but he insists he did not kill her. I guess the jury is not aware that he has pleaded guilty to that. Again, the jury is now deciding if he killed his wife or not. Brian Walsh's attorneys say that he found his wife dead in their bed in the early hours of the new year and panicked, thinking no one would believe that he was not involved in Anna's death. Again, he faces life in prison without the possibility of parole if convicted of her murder, which is what a jury is going to decide in this trial. We are in week 2 of witness testimony. Prosecutors are still presenting their case. Again, this would be some DNA evidence. It would appear that this witness is kind of going over here in the courtroom for the jury. So let's listen back in together as we continue to learn a little bit more about the case that the prosecution is laying out here.
That is a sample from stain D on the interior right sleeve of the Tyvek suit.
And is this the same Tyvek suit as discussed with items 3 and 4 that we previously discussed?
Yes.
But is this a different stain?
Yes.
And what was the DNA profile result for this item?
The DNA profile was interpreted as a mixture of 2 contributors, including male DNA.
And were you able to come to a conclusion about the comparison to the known profile of Anna Walsh?
The DNA profile from this item is at least 110 sextillion times more likely if it originated from Anna Walsh and an unknown individual than if it originated from 2 unknown unrelated individuals, and this provides support for an inclusion.
And what is sextillion?
A sextillion is 1 followed by 21 zeros.
I'm sorry.
21 zeros.
All right. Again, we've been listening in here to some testimony in the Brian Walsh murder trial that's happening out of Massachusetts. I'll keep my eye on that feed, and maybe we'll dip back in or out from that trial as it goes on. I want to get us back out to the Senate hallway. We've been monitoring this podium, waiting for some Senate leadership to step up and speak to media. You can see they are there now. So let's listen into this feed and learn together.
The federal treasury to the bank accounts of insurance companies. And that is going to cause the cost of health care in this country to continue to go up. I'm a doctor, practiced medicine in Wyoming for 24 years. People need the care that they need from a doctor that they choose at a price they can afford. And that all went away with Obamacare. I remember President Obama saying, oh, if you pass this, your premiums will go down by $2,500 a family a year. Instead, premiums doubled. So what happened? Well, the Democrats wanted to hide these premium increases, so they said, we better send a lot of money directly to the insurance companies. Don't let the people see it. Send it right to the insurance companies. The insurance companies loved it. Premiums went up 221%, and the stock of the insurance companies went up 500% to 1,000%. That's what happened with Obamacare. And now at this point, over 90% of premiums are subsidized by the federal government. Obamacare was always pricey. It was never affordable. And then during COVID, people saw this and said, well, Democrats said, this is bad. Its prices keep going up. What do we do? They said, we need to put new subsidies on top of the old subsidies, and that is the Biden COVID bonus subsidies. Those are the ones that are expiring at the end of this week. What happened? Well, the Democrats chose that date for expiration, but they also removed any income limits. You can make $1 million a year, and you're still getting all the subsidies from the federal government paid in your name directly from the government to the insurance companies. And now they want to send another $83 billion. That's going to be the vote this Thursday. They're not going to pay any attention to the reforms that are needed because of the waste, the fraud, the abuse, and the corruption. And in just today's Washington Post, the editorial in today's Washington Post, Obamacare subsidies make it too easy to scam the system. That's what's happening. This system is full of waste, fraud, and abuse because they make it too easy to scam the system. Well, I oppose sending these payments directly from the federal government to the insurance companies. They shouldn't be rewarded for what they have done. Money should go directly to patients so they can make their own decisions. And that'll drive down costs, make insurance companies compete to the people that are actually paying the bills, the taxpayers. Make them offer things that those patients want to have insurance, not held hostage in the straitjacket of the one-size-fits-all that is Obamacare that is hurting our country today.
Leader Thune, good afternoon. Can you speak to, for a moment to the political concerns of vulnerable Republicans if Obamacare, health care, these subsidies aren't addressed in some form going into 2026?
Well,
the president's talking about affordability. The president's talking about affordability. What happens to your side if you don't address this?
well, and so are we, and which is why the proposal we will put out there will actually drive premiums down. And that is in stark contrast to, as Senator Barrasso just pointed out, a program that since its inception has increased costs, premiums in the individual marketplace 221%. That is triple the CPI and double what the rates have increased in the group market, the employer market, where a lot of people, about 150 million Americans, get their insurance. This is a failed program, and it does nothing but drive premiums up. And the increase in premiums, who's that going to? That's going to the insurance companies. So the proposal we'll put out there will bring insurance premiums down. It will be fiscally responsible, and it'll get us away from the practice of giving the money all to the insurance companies and put it back in the hands of the patients. So there will be something out there that Republicans will be able to talk about and support and vote for, and then we'll see. I mean, what happens on Thursday? Maybe there's some wise Democrats who will decide to vote for a proposal like that. But if there aren't, if neither proposal gets 60, then we'll see where it goes from there. But I do know that we want this issue, affordability, to be front and center. And the way to do that is not to extend for 3 years at a cost of $83 billion to the taxpayers a program that continues to drive insurance costs, premiums higher and higher for the American people.
On these Venezuelan boat strikes, a number of your members this morning said they would support releasing a video of that September 2nd strike publicly. Would you personally support that?
Well, I'm happy with what they are doing. I think they are, the relevant committees, as I've said before, the Armed Services Committee, both Democrats and Republicans have had an opportunity to view that video. How they decide to proceed with it, I'll leave to their, to their discretion. But I think anybody who probably wants to, any member who wants to see that, I suspect probably would have that opportunity if they choose to.
Given the uncertainty of the tariffs with the Supreme Court decision potentially overturning them, does it make sense for the president to turn to those tariffs, that tariff revenue, to pay for farm aid, and tariff revenue goes into the federal treasury? Isn't it the Congress's power to spend that tariff revenue as it sees fit?
Yeah, I mean, for those of you who've been following farm policy for a long time, which I have, I've been through 4 farm bills. The one we're working on right now that got derailed, but we got a lot of it included in the reconciliation bill last summer, would have been my 5th. And throughout the years, there have been attempts, and obviously this is the most recent one, to deal with tremendous losses that are being experienced in the agricultural marketplace, in this case because of a loss of markets. And that is related to some of the trade issues that we're dealing with. The president's obviously trying to get the attention of the Chinese, get us into a better place in terms of reciprocity with them. But in the meantime, it has an impact on the markets that a lot of our agricultural producers have access to. So to me, it makes all the sense in the world that if you've got a lot of revenue coming in from tariffs, and you need sort of a bridge for farmers. A lot of the changes that we made in last summer in the reconciliation bill don't take effect until next year, and the farmers, the safety net programs, will benefit from those. In the meantime, to have something that helps them bridge that time when they've had this loss of markets and are experiencing historically low commodity prices and historically high input prices. The margins in agriculture are gone, and I say that for corn and soybeans. Other commodities, but those 2 in particular are where we've seen a real impact, and I think the administration's trying to respond to that and ensure that the farmers get to a time where we have that market is opening up again, China's opening up again, so hopefully this will be a bridge to the future. But I think what the administration did in terms of using tariff revenue to do that makes sense.
Just on the Venezuelan boat strike again, I know you say that all your members have access to that video, but they're coming out with a dramatically different interpretation of that video. Isn't that one of the reasons for the administration to be transparent and release the video for all Americans to see?
Well, look, I think, again, I think that the relevant committees here on Capitol Hill, that has been made available to them. And I'm going to leave it up to them to decide who has access to it. But as I said before, I think any member of Congress, and certainly people are going to come up with different interpretations because we live in a political environment. And but I suspect that anybody who has seen it knows pretty clearly what the facts are. And And I'll leave it at that. I think that the relevant committees will make decisions about who has access to it.
Back on healthcare, does Cassidy Crapo have unanimous support in your conference? And some of your members have also put forth temporary 2-year extensions of the ACA with changes with HIDE language with other reforms. Might those come to a vote as well?
Well, we have other members, as you point out, who have their own proposals, and they, you have to ask them how they want to have those dealt with. But I suspect you may see other ideas advanced, and whether or not those get voted on, I think is going to be probably up to some of our colleagues who are offering those proposals. What I can tell you is, as a conference, our members, and I can't say 100%, but I think for the most part, I would argue are united behind the Crapo-Cassidy proposal, which, as I said, in terms of its emphasis, is about patients, not insurance companies, and about lowering premiums, not increasing them, and about getting a better return for the federal taxpayer. Thank you all.
If you are just joining us, we've been listening in here as some Senate leaders were speaking about affordable care, health care, I should say. Of course, that was Senate Majority Leader John Thune. And really, the government shutdown was so prolonged because of this great debate over affordable health care. Democrats said we need that included in this bill. They wanted to make sure that what many people refer to as Obamacare was extended, whereas Republicans said they wanted it to be a clean bill, meaning no additional items were there. Ultimately, what happened was Democrats agreed to a clean bill if Republicans would bring up in the Senate floor the chance for this vote, to vote on this kind of Affordable Care Act. With, again, those subsidies are set to expire soon. So what's expected to happen, I believe we just heard from Senator Thune, Thursday is when that vote is going to happen. However, Senator Thune has already said he will not vote for it. Sounded like maybe there's potentially two different kind of bills out there to bring down health care premiums. One would be what the Democrats are planning on backing, that Affordable Care Act. The other is, I think, the new solution by Republicans. So certainly a situation that was in the headlines big time during the government shutdown and is still a big conversation starter. The other thing that I'm keeping my eye on that just popped up here on our feeds is this podium. This is occasionally where we hear from some of the House leadership. I've seen Hakeem Jeffries here a lot. Delaney actually just confirmed that's who will be speaking here shortly. So I will absolutely keep my eye on this feed and bring you this once Hakeem Jeffries is on that podium. That way we can also hear from the Democratic side. Usually he has been talking a lot about health care lately. So hopefully we can hear the Democrat side after just hearing the Republican side. Of course, Hakeem Jeffries is the House Minority Leader, whereas Senator Thune is the Senate Majority Leader. But still, hopefully we can hear both sides on that argument there. But for now, we are going to take a quick break here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, and when we get back, we should be able to talk hockey with the Milwaukee Admirals. Stick with us.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk. It's Haley here with you at 1:48. I right away want to go back out to the feed we were watching before we went to break. We were hearing from Senate Majority Leader Thune. Now we have Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer. So I want to go ahead and listen in. That way we can have both sides of this kind of Affordable Care Act battle. So let's listen in together.
Lower costs. And that chance is simple. Work with Democrats to extend the ACA premium tax credits before they expire. Democrats have put forward the cleanest, fastest, most realistic solution, a 3-year extension of the current tax credits. No gimmicks, no poison pills. We'll move to vote on Thursday. Republicans have had all year to avoid this premium crisis. They ignored every warning. Every Democrat is united behind this fix. Republicans can't support anything that would bring meaningful relief to American people. Republicans are the reason we're now staring down a health care emergency. The choice is simple for them. Vote with Democrats to keep costs down, or vote to send premiums through the roof. And make no mistake, our proposal is the only realistic path left to prevent premiums from going up. First, it's a clean, straight extension of current law. Second, it directly tackles the premium spike. And third, every Democrat supports it, so it can pass the minute Republicans stop blocking it. On the Republican side, their story is very different. Their phony proposal is dead on arrival. One of the possibility they're considering, the Crapo-Cassidy bill, would not extend the ACA tax credits for a single day. That's what's driving the price up, and they're doing nothing about it. The bill not only fails to extend the tax credits, it increases costs, adds tons of new abortion restrictions for women, expands junk fees, and permanently funds cost-sharing reductions. Their bill is junk insurance. It's been repudiated in the past. The American people will repudiate it once again because it is junk insurance that puts the burden on people. We should call it what it is: misdirection, smoke and mirrors, a cover-up, blocking the ACA tax credits that keep health care costs down. Our bill keeps premiums down. Their chaos sends premiums up. Republicans have 48 hours to choose. Join Democrats and stop the spike, or stick millions of Americans with higher costs. This is their last chance before January 1st, when the American people have to pay these bills. Now, finally, this afternoon, Secretaries Hegseth and Rubio and top officials will brief the Gang of Eight, and I'll be there. I plan to confront Secretary Hegseth on exactly what the hell is going on in the Caribbean. I plan to demand Secretary Hegseth give the total, unedited videos of what happened in the September 2nd boat strikes. Trump originally agreed to do this, but now they're afraid. What's Hegseth hiding? And second, I will demand of Rubio and Hegseth what the hell is going on in the Caribbean and in Venezuela. What are their plans? How far do they plan to go? Trump has already talked about Venezuela waters and even going attacking Venezuela on land. How far do they intend to go? And when Trump says these crazy things, does he really mean them? And will he drag America into an endless war? It's about getting truth for the American people. The American people are entitled to see the unedited videos. Last week, Trump said he'd have no problem releasing the videos. Then yesterday, he walked back his statement, claiming he said it was fake news. You know, this guy's amazing. He said it. It's on the air. Millions saw it. Now he says it's fake news, even though he said it. It means he's a fake. Let's be clear. The only way to bring clarity is to release the full unedited tapes. That's why the NDA included a provision requiring the Pentagon to hand the tapes over. If they don't, Pete Hegseth's travel budget gets slashed 25%. And this proposal had the support of Democrats and Republicans, including Wicker, including Republicans in the House and Senate. It shows you that both parties are united that these videos ought to be released so the American people can see them. Congress is united in demanding transparency. I strongly support this provision, fought to keep it in the bill. Trump, Hegseth, Rubio must do the right thing. And they all must release the tapes and tell the American people the truth the people deserve to hear. Senator Wyden.
Thank you.
All right, we've been listening in here. Of course, that is Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, who was just talking a little bit more about kind of the fight for affordable health care, referencing this vote that's set to happen in a few days on the Senate floor. I believe it's Thursday. So, of course, we're going to keep our eyes peeled on the agenda on the Senate floor vote, and we'll let you know what happens here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. We were hoping to talk to the Milwaukee Admirals. We usually grab them on Tuesdays. It does not appear that they're able to join us this week, but that is okay because I was just pulling up their schedule, taking a look at it. I know all the players are on the road right now, making their way to Grand Rapids, where they will take on the Griffins tomorrow at 7. Then they'll be in Rockford Friday, taking on the Rockford Ice Hogs. Then comes Saturday, it is time for the Milwaukee Admirals to take on the Chicago Wolves. Now, they did play the Wolves in Rosemont, which is Chicago for all intents and purposes, last Friday and Saturday. They lost both games, so I know they are coming for a revenge when they are playing the Chicago Wolves here in Milwaukee. And it's an exciting night on Saturday. It's FOX6 night, and who's going to be there? This dream team. Delaney and I will actually be on the concourse before the game with a bunch of rally towels for you guys. So you're going to want to get your tickets, come out and say hi, and let us know what you want to watch on the Wisconsin Live Desk, because we always are trying to bring you guys kind of the news that we know you're interested in. But how excited are you for our girls' night out at the Admirals game?
I'm excited. I haven't been to an Admirals game in a really long time.
This will be my first Admirals game. It will only be my second hockey game ever. We technically were allowed to do the table as long as we wanted, but we want to actually watch the game. So we have to get there fast. We're only going to be there before the game, and then we're going to go watch it. So yeah, I'm excited.
I know, I'm excited for it. It'll be fun.
I feel like us being there is going to give them the push they needed to beat the Chicago Wolves as well.
That's what I think.
Right? Interesting enough, speaking of Rosemont and Chicago Wolves, they play at Allstate Arena, and I'm going to be at Allstate Arena on Thursday.
Oh, yeah, for the Jonas Brothers.
For the Jonas Brothers, you guys. You know I love the Joe Bros. I saw them at Fiserv back in October, and obviously they extended their tour, so I had to get tickets when they were coming back to Chicago. Again, it's Rosemont. Because they technically already played at Tinley Park, which, again, they would call Chicago, even though it's not Chicago. But that was the day before I started this job in Milwaukee, so there was no way I could go to the concert. So then when they made the second stop in Chicago, Delaney, I said, I got to go. And I'm excited because they're playing a lot of Christmas songs, so they've got several Christmas songs, and it's perfect.
Oh, yeah, that'll be perfect.
And they have a new opener. So they had American Rejects when they were here at Fiserv, which was really fun. Do you know who it is now?
I don't.
Well, Franklin Jonas is still opening. He is technically the opener. But now we also get Jesse McCartney. I'm actually so excited.
Oh, that's really exciting.
I love Jesse McCartney. Beautiful soul, body language. He's got some good bops from back in the day.
He does. And I'm jealous.
I think currently as well. I know, we should have gone.
That'll be a good concert.
But we already made our plans for our concert together. We have a couple, but our fictitious one is when Sabrina Carpenter announces that she's going to go on tour. And then our real one is Russell Dickerson.
Yeah.
At Summerfest.
We'll definitely go to Russell Dickerson.
And then we'll do something else together. Which, speaking of things we do together, should we do question of the day together?
Let's do it.
It's National Christmas Card Day. I imagine that this is like your reminder to get your Christmas card in the mail today if you're sending it out. Delaney, do you send out Christmas cards?
I do not. Growing up, my mom used to.
Okay.
And the older we got, it just, I think, became harder for her to do. To get us all together, to get a picture, and then all of a sudden, it's December 9th, and the Christmas cards are coming after Christmas.
Yeah. I don't think we have ever sent Christmas cards out, my family and I. Same issue. There's 6 kids. Like, when are we ever in the same place? We live in multiple states. One year, my sister Christine put together like a siblings Christmas card that had like updates from all of us, and she asked for one line. Oh, there's like a hair in the Wisconsin Live Desk booth. My one line was, I think it was like broke, stressed, and 1D obsessed, One Direction. You could tell it was back in like their heyday. But I like the idea of Christmas cards, but I just am not put together enough as a person to be able to do that.
No, I'm not as organized as I'd like to be able to get that done.
Which, speaking of the snowstorm we had a couple Saturdays ago, I went on a movie marathon. I watched Cheaper by the Dozen, and I always forget that he makes the family take their photo in like April because they get this great discount at the printers. So that always makes me laugh too, the people who are like putting on their Christmas sweaters in July just to have the photo done.
Yeah, then you're prepared.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about it later.
So true. So true, bestie. So true. Okay, let's follow up. I think that's a game that some people... Do you know what I'm talking about? There's like So True Bestie, So False Bestie. It's a paddle.
Oh, I think, yeah.
The Jonas Brothers have done it. I'll find a link. Anyway. Oh, this is a good one. Hallmark opened in 1920. Speaking of Christmas cards, true or false? Okay, so do I think Hallmark is 105 years old? What was going on in the 1920s? Prohibition? Is that wrong? Delaney's face is making me think that that's not the 20s. It's flapper dresses. Okay, hold on. 1920, exactly. Thank you. Okay, crushed it. Delaney's face there was giving me a little bit of fear, but no, I crushed that. I feel like this is false.
This one is false. It opened in 1910.
Oh, not what I was thinking. Okay, I picked false because I thought it was later.
That would make sense. But yeah, it opened in 1910 in Kansas City, Missouri.
Wow. That is actually shocking to me. Okay, so we've had Hallmark and the ability to buy Christmas cards for a while. I will say this, I don't tend to buy a lot of the Christmas cards at Hallmark, but I do love Hallmark ornaments. I love like the different collections where you can go and get the new edition for each year. I don't know about you guys at home, but I am the person who has a Christmas tree that isn't supposed to be like pretty, where you just buy all the ornaments to be like the pretty decorations. I'm the girl who has like all the memory ornaments. So I have my favorite ornament is, there's a couple I love. There's one of Ben Zobrist, the Cubs baseball player who my dog Zobrist is named after. There's one that's a little ranch bottle that says Merry Ranchmas. I love all those like keepsake ornaments. So that's where I would go to Hallmark for, not so much for a card, but I would go for an ornament. All right, hey, we're going to take a quick break here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, and coming up, we've got some more news to bring you live in the moment, so stick with us. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk. Time check for you. It is now 2:03. We are working on getting you a couple of different things here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. One of them is, again, Greendale High School is expected to be heading off to the Rose Parade. They get to play for the second time ever. The other thing we're working on, this is an exciting day, you guys. This piece of history is coming back. This is more than just a yellow license plate. I was quickly scolded and learned my lesson earlier today. This is the butter yellow license plate that was made famous in the 80s. You can actually see this sticker, this vehicle kind of registration sticker. 86 was the last time that this was allowed to be on the road. But this is what really kind of celebrated being America's Dairyland, these yellow license plates that, again, are officially called butter yellow. I think it's the perfect, color for the cheese state. Reminds you of maybe the Packers cheese heads, which also would make sense. Being in America's Dairyland, currently they're talking about this and how you can get this again starting in 2026. So we are working to get you that press conference as it happens here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. And of course, we're monitoring a couple of other things as they tend to pop up here. We were listening in to Chuck Schumer, which seems like he might still be answering questions here. So let's listen into this feed and see what else he has to say about affordable health care.
In terms of what rationale they would have to take that step?
First, we're very concerned. You've heard Trump's musings, ministrations, contradictions on what he would do, and he's the president, and they all listen to him. So we are very, very concerned. To go into war, land war, in Venezuela, is an act of war. That is Congress's right. And Senator Kaine and myself and two others, Schiff and Rand Paul, have the War Powers Act ready to be introduced on the floor of the Senate. We hope Republicans will join us in that vote.
Leader Schumer.
Yes.
Last week, you told us that one of the reasons that there hadn't been meaningful negotiations is because Republicans hadn't put out their proposal. Now that that's out, do you see any path forward to find something in between these two proposals, or is it one or the other?
Their plan is a non-starter. They even know it themselves. They're so struggling that they couldn't come up with a real plan, that instead of the total embarrassment of having no plan, they have the total embarrassment of having a plan that's been rejected over and over again, that doesn't lower health care costs, that doesn't extend the ACA one day, which is what the American people are asking for, and has all these poison pill riders, such as abortion, which they know are killer amendments.
So is there any path to negotiation?
Next.
I was just going to ask you
Look,
about the
negotiations, we're always willing to sit down and negotiate with someone who would lower costs. Their bill was absolutely not lower costs. It would raise costs for the American people. Yes,
I was just going to ask you about the Hyde language and stricter abortion limitations that Republicans are demanding as a price for any kind of ACA funding extension. Is it off the table for you? Does that mean there will be no extension?
Yes, off the table. They know it damn well, but because they can't come up with any real solution, and they're so, afraid of the Susan B. Anthony League, they put this non-starter language in. It shows they don't care about reducing health care costs. They care more about taking abortion away from the women of America than they care about reducing health care costs. Yes. Yeah, go ahead. Mr. Ronald Wyden, D. Oregon, would like to say a few words.
I just want to make mention of how they've handled this.
All right, we've been listening in again here, as you can definitely hear kind of the passion behind Chuck Schumer as he talks about affordable health care. Again, we already heard from John Thune, who's a Republican, the Senate Majority Leader. That was us hearing from the Senate Minority Leader. Something that we are kind of monitoring here, Governor Evers currently at the DMV in Madison. Again, this should be the announcement about the return of those ever-popular butter yellow license plates. Bear with us on the Wisconsin Live Desk. We tend to get to view things in the moment. So this is a photographer who's currently working on filming for his studio or his story, and you can see we're kind of hectically running around the DMV a little bit, which I could make a joke that I'm never running around a DMV. Usually it's a little bit of a slower process for me, Delaney, when I have to go to the DMV. You know what I'm talking about?
I do. Normally it's a little bit slow.
Normally it is a little bit slow, but here's the podium. So I'm going to guess this is going to start in a little bit, but I was learning all about these butter yellow license plates earlier today, again, made popular back in the kind of 80s before they ended up going away, and now they're going to be coming back. So it's the popular retro license plate that has black lettering celebrating America's Dairyland. This is the photographer making sure everything's in focus here as they get ready for this press conference to start. But again, it's going to be back celebrating America's Dairyland after getting approval in the 2025 state budget. They'll be made available early 2026. Here's what you need to know. In order to get that butter yellow license plate, it requires a one-time $15 fee, and then each year it will be another $25 fee. But it's a throwback design, really. It's coming out as a response to high demand for older, similar plates that really boost state revenue and honor dairy heritage. Because, America's Dairyland, here in Wisconsin, we're very proud to be America's Dairyland. I'm going to pop up this kind of double box so I can also show you again what we're talking about. This is one of our very own Kriegers, our assignment desk, I'll say manager, but he certainly works the assignment desk very well at Delaney. This is his license plate back from the 80s. And it's so cool because he's got plenty of stickers on top of each other. So I wonder how old this actually is. It's certainly older than just 86. But this is what we're talking about, the return of this license plate. Again, $15 fee plus an annual $25 fee. Looks like this press conference is actually going to be beginning. You can see Governor Evers in the background there. So let's bring you out back full to this feed. We'll turn the sound up and we will listen in together here and see if they've started this kind of press conference in Madison.
All right, well, good afternoon, and thank you all for joining us for the debut of Wisconsin's newest state license plates. Today we're joined by Governor Tony Evers and Representative Sheila Stubbs and Wisconsin Department of Transportation Secretary Christina Boardman, and many of the DOT staff involved in creating these plates. There's been so much interest in creating new plates for years. Governor Evers officially made this a reality when he signed the 2025-2027 biennial budget into law this summer. And we got right to work to fast-track the design and development of these plates. We're thrilled to give you a first look at them today. So, let's get right to it. I'd like to direct your attention to the video monitor here. All right. We'll get a little, I think we got some audio to go with this thing. All right, yeah. So how about that? We are so excited to debut these plates that we had to make this hype video here. As you can see, these are the final designs for the license plates. Both the blackout and retro plate have been discussed for years, and we're happy to now make them a reality for Wisconsinites. Now, I'm proud to introduce someone who is passionate about transportation and extremely knowledgeable about Wisconsin license plates. She's as excited as anyone about these new plates. Our Wisconsin Secretary of Transportation, Christina Boardman.
So yeah, I came with my proper purse here and I dressed the part. Thank you, Tommy. I am so happy to be here to talk about these long-awaited new license plate designs. As he said, as the former administrator of DMV, I have been honored to lead the 750 fabulous workers that come to work every day helping customers, and it's really great to see all of that hard work translate into what we do for our happy customers. One of the best highlights has been me seeing our license plate program grow over the last several years. We offer more than 60 special license plates, including many that financially support nonprofit organizations here in Wisconsin. Wisconsinites have many choices to choose from, and they can spotlight what they support or what looks good on their vehicle. While we have plates that feature sports teams and varied interests from health to higher education, I've been looking for something a little bit more nostalgic. And we have been talking about bringing back the retro, the butter plate, for more than a decade. The yellow plate is a nod to our state's celebrated history as America's dairyland and really connects us across the generations. I will be in line, online, to get mine in January when they are first available. And for years, we've seen the popularity of the blackout plates in many of our surrounding states. Offers a sleek and stylish design that vehicle owners have been asking for. And so,
all right, you guys, we've been listening in here as WisDOT unveils their new license plate designs, both bringing back the very popular butter yellow plate from the 80s, as well as announcing this new blackout license plate, which Delaney and I both think would look very chic on our white cars. So we might be trying to get those blackout license plates. But we know a lot of people in our newsroom would certainly go for the butter yellow kind of historical piece that, again, really champions Wisconsin being America's dairyland. I do want to hop over now to a different feed that's happening live right now. This is in Greendale. Again, the high school there preparing to play the Rose Parade for the second time. So let's listen into this leader talking about that opportunity.
We are playing Bye 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 by NSYNC. So you just saw us work on the corner that we have to march in the TV portion when we get out to Pasadena, and now they're marching around the school, practicing the parade.
What is it like to be here today, just a couple of weeks before you actually, I know you've been practicing for a while, but just how is the vibe right now?
It's really exciting to be able to take this to California. The kids have been working really, really hard, and now that it's getting closer, they're getting more excited.
Song choice, how did we come up with that?
So I am a big Justin Timberlake fan, actually, and so NSYNC, Bye Bye Bye, what we really want to do is entertain the crowd, and we want something that the crowd will mostly recognize and sing and dance along to, so that's how we chose that.
What is it like, I know, were you part of the 2020 year when you
Yes.
guys did that?
Yep.
Okay. What is it like to be going back? Anything different that you're doing this time that you're hoping to change or that you did last time that you're bringing again?
I think we're doing a lot of the same stuff. We're doing Disneyland this year, so the kids are really excited about that. But otherwise, it's nice to go back and kind of know what to expect. We love the Tournament of Roses. They treat you like family, so we're really excited to go back and have that experience, and for this group too.
What do you want people watching you guys on that, because you can live stream the whole parade, what do you want them to look for or to notice from your performance?
I hope people notice that we just have a lot of fun when we perform. If you saw it when they came around this corner, they were doing a dance break during the song, so we just have a lot of fun and we want people to be entertained.
Is there any other bands from Wisconsin that are going to be there? Are you the only?
We are the only band from Wisconsin.
What are you going to bring to California from Wisconsin that represents the state?
Hopefully we are not bringing this cold weather. But hopefully we can represent the state well, play well, entertain the crowd, and yeah, just bring a lot of fun out to California.
How do you guys stay so successful? I mean, 20 years in a row winning state, now you're going to the Rose Parade again. What is the secret?
I think it's just a legacy. The kids are really proud to be a part of this, and it's the alumni that build that up, and then kids continue that legacy. So it's just, we have a really hard working group of kids, and they have a lot of fun, and we try to keep it fun for them.
What are you personally looking forward to the most?
I am looking forward to just being back in California. Hopefully we get some good sunny weather, and I'm really looking forward to this group having fun, hanging out with their friends and putting on a great performance that they've been working really hard for.
How long have you guys been practicing this? I mean, what are the hours look like?
So we came off our season just a few weeks ago, and then we started the parade music inside during class. We have them during class every day. And then Tuesday nights we're here rehearsing as well. When we can get outside, we get outside and practice the parade and the formation and putting it all together.
I heard the weather is sort of a damper on some of that practice.
Yes.
Tis Wisconsin.
Tis Wisconsin.
How many people are going to California? Is it 200?
We have just under 200. Yeah.
Any final touches you guys are working on today? What is today's focus?
Today's focus will be just kind of cleaning up the music on the parade route. Tonight our rehearsal will be kind of honing in on that TV corner and looping the music. So yeah, just kind of we have this week and next week, and then that's all we get, and then we're out in California.
What do you say to anybody who's nervous to be on this national stage? Do you have good advice?
Yeah, I would just tell them to have fun. If our kids are nervous, they're kind of used to being in the spotlight and being under some pressure. So hopefully they just go out there and have a good time, because they're definitely prepared.
Did you want to say anything? Sorry, I just whipped out all the questions.
You kind of took all of mine, so we're good.
Okay. Anything else that you want to say?
No, I don't think so.
Awesome. Thank
Cool.
you.
Yeah,
That was
thank you
wonderful.
guys.
Thank you.
We can get you.
All right, we were listening in there after the Greendale Band finished their kind of practice there for the Rose Parade, getting to hear a little bit more about their plans before they go to Pasadena. It's the second time that the band from Greendale High School gets that opportunity. You might have heard our very own Christina Van Zelst handling that interview, asking the questions. Her full story will be available later on Fox Local. I also know Christina and myself are both pretty big Disney fans, so I love to hear that all those high schoolers are going to get to go to Disneyland while they're over in California in January. Perhaps they need us to travel with them to cover the story. Christina and I will volunteer as tribute for sure for that. Let's go back out into this kind of press conference we were listening into before with the new license plates being revealed. It looks like Governor Evers is now holding that blackout one, but we'll go and see if there's any sound left on this. They might have just, though, finished up this press conference, but let's listen in.
Sooner the better. Thank you.
Thank you.
You bet.
All right. As you can tell, we're very pleased to offer these new plates next month. We know there are thousands of drivers here in Wisconsin looking forward to putting one of these new plates on their vehicles. Now, I'm proud to say, thanks to the hard work and dedicated efforts of our DMV team and our partners at the Department of Corrections, these plates will be available to the public in early January, with details on a specific date to be forthcoming. You'll notice these standard issued plates will have a unique sequence of numbers and letters. The blackout plates will begin with ZAA. The retro yellow plates will begin with YAA. The clean design allows for up to 7 characters for those wanting to personalize their plates. Getting these plates will be easy. Customers can use several convenient options. You can order a plate online at wisconsindmv.gov/special plates in January. You'll receive a new non-personalized plate in a week or two. DMV customer service centers will also have the new license plates in stock. And new this year, participating motor vehicle dealerships will also have blackout and retro plates available for standard auto and light truck customers. Customers can also order these plates at the time of their annual registration renewal. So thank you all for joining us today to spread the word about our new plates. We can't wait to start issuing them in January. This concludes our formal remarks. As we mentioned, you will be receiving a news release with images of the plates this afternoon. That concludes our press event today. Thank you all for coming.
All right, I'm glad we could catch kind of the end there of that kind of press conference. Again, WisDOT unveiling new license plate designs. We certainly knew about the butter yellow one, which actually looks like they're still filming some of them. So let's pull that back up there. But I didn't know about this blackout plate, which again, I actually love it. Delaney, chime in here. Is that the one you're gonna go for?
I do like the blackout plate.
Yeah, I would say we both have white vehicles, so I just don't know that I like white and yellow, but the fact that the black has the white details, I think it would look so good on a white car, actually, and a black car.
Yeah, I had the same thought.
Yeah. No, I'm actually excited about this. I just got new license plates in August when I moved here because I had to get rid of my South Carolina ones. So I don't know if it's like too soon to get new plates, but I might be looking into this because I'm all about a fashion statement. You know, Delaney?
I know, I agree with you.
Delaney stopped listening. That's why she said she agreed with me. She didn't even hear what I said. But if you missed it, here in the Wisconsin Live Desk closet with me today, we have a piece of history. We have the old yellow plate. Again, they're bringing back that retro design. This one's from '86, and there's so many stickers behind this, these other registration from past years. So this is from the '80s. I don't know how many years it goes back, but I can tell you I see at least 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 5 years of stickers, if not more. So I know a lot of people in our newsroom are very excited for the return of the butter yellow, which really honors America's Dairyland. And I think a lot of us are also now excited for these blackout ones. That's so hip. That's so cool. I'm sure we'll have more coming up later on in our newscast from that press conference. Obviously, Governor Evers was on hand to kind of announce those new license plates designs as well. Again, should be available coming up here in 2026, which is just a matter of weeks away, which is absolutely crazy to me to think that it is so soon. But again, what we know, it requires a one-time $15 fee, and then each year there will be a $25 annual fee, which is not too bad at all. So again, I might be looking into that because I'm really liking the look of that. It should hopefully boost state revenue and continue to honor the dairy heritage here in Wisco, which I gotta say, Delaney, I don't know if I've talked a lot about it on the live desk. I obviously have lived in Wisconsin before, so I lived the last 3 years in South Carolina, but before that I spent 3 years in western Wisconsin in La Crosse and Eau Claire. When I first moved here from Chicago, I did not like cheese. Like, it had to be American cheese, Delaney, or I was not going to touch it. By the time I left Eau Claire, I would eat anything and everything. Like, you could put any cheese in front of me, and I was like, yep, it's going to be so good. Give it to me.
I've lived in Wisconsin forever. I do not like cheese.
Okay, we're just going to seed her out. No, I'm just kidding. I'll bring her back in. That blows my mind. I always was super picky. Like, I remember even in Eau Claire, which I wish I could think of the name of the spot because you used to live there. I'll look it up. But there we went out and, like, it was make your own cheese board. And my 2 friends were doing it, and I was like, oh, yeah, like, I don't think I'm going to do it because I don't like cheese. And by the time I was moving away, I was like, oh, no, I would always make my own cheese board. Like, burrata, goat cheese, Gouda, like, there's so, brie. I love all sorts of cheese, genuinely. So I'm also proud of the Dairyland heritage.
Yeah, I just don't love cheese. I don't know.
I feel like I'm a better Wisconsinite than
You might be.
Than you.
I think you might be.
That's crazy. Do you know the ice cream shop that's not in downtown Eau Claire? It's a little bit off of it.
Not Ramones?
No, because Ramones is the one that's downtown, right?
Are you talking about the one all the way down Water Street?
No. Is there off of Barstow? Am I clear? Ugh, guys, this is going to bother me now. Eau Claire, Barstow Street. Ice cream. Let's see. Maybe it is. I think it is Ramones. Galloway. Because Olson's is on Barstow. I think it's Ramones. Okay, the place I'm thinking of was like across the street from Ramones. Okay, this is the best Wisconsin Live Desk where we just stare in silence trying to figure out the name of something in Eau Claire. So instead, let's talk a little bit more about Greendale. That's probably more exciting, right, Delaney? And then tomorrow we'll be starting Wisconsin Live Desk with the update when I figure out the name of... Also, I like that I confused Barstow and Galloway Street. It's definitely Ramones that I was thinking of. Yes.
I think you're thinking Ramones.
I'm thinking Ramones. I'm going to figure it out. But I want to show us the band continuing to practice. Of course, this is Greendale High School getting ready for the Rose Parade. That is where they get to play in Pasadena next month. Second time the school will have gotten to do that. We caught a little bit of the live interview there from Christina moments ago, but just want to run you through some of the information in case you missed it. They have won state 20 consecutive times, Greendale High School Marching Band. That is crazy. They're getting ready again to play at the Rose Parade. But if you want to catch what that performance will look like, they're doing a free concert this upcoming Saturday at 2 p.m. in the gymnasium at Greendale High School. Totally free, open to the public. Doors are going to open at 1:30. They'll be performing Bye Bye Bye, which I just did the choreography behind the scenes. This is a 200-member band and 137th year of the Rose Parade in Pasadena, which obviously is always on New Year's Day. So, really exciting opportunity. Hey, if you do go to that free concert on Saturday at 2 p.m., they are asking you to bring brand new coloring books to donate, and then they are going to go ahead and pass those out as part of the Tournament of Roses Band Cares program, which is a really cool opportunity. So they'll distribute them at Shriners for Children Medical Center in Pasadena. So hey, if you go out to the concert on Saturday, bring a coloring book. They'll bring it with them to the Rose Parade. We're putting the camera down as they continue to practice right there. And then they'll give it back to children in need, which will be such a cool opportunity. Well, anyway, I'm trying to see what we could leave you on here, because Kim Murphy is in the wings. She is ready to take over, get you guys here all the way to 3:30. Why don't we go ahead and listen in to Hakeem Jeffries as he takes questions here after we've already listened to some senators. So today, now we'll turn our attention to the House. All right, let's listen to Hakeem. Thanks for joining me the last 2 hours. Kim's got you now all the way to 3:30.
Here's the interesting thing. I've never had a conversation with her. Know nothing about her commitment to this issue. And if she wants to lay out a path forward on this stock ban issue, where she parachuted in to the middle of it, she has not been part of the bipartisan conversations that have been ongoing, led on our side by Seth Magaziner, Representative Ocasio-Cortez, and Representative Pramila Jayapal, along with Joe Morelli, has not been part of those conversations. They've been led by Chip Roy. She parachutes into this situation. Nobody fully understands her intention. She's had zero conversation, as far as I can tell, with any of us. And so she's just shooting off at the mouth, as she always does. She's undermining her own credibility and position. If she wants to have a conversation, find me on the floor. It's Democrats who are actually serious about enacting a congressional stock ban. And we're committed to using every tool available to make sure that this happens. Why doesn't Representative Anna Paulina Luna go talk to the Deputy Speaker, Mike Johnson? He's the one that a few days ago said her discharge petition was dead on arrival. See, when she runs off at the mouth, she loses all credibility. Talk to your own team. We're committed to this effort on the House Democratic side. And as a matter of fact, if she's interested in dealing with corruption, do something about the active ongoing crime scene coming out of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. The most corrupt administration in American history, and it's not even close. And we don't hear a peep from her or any of her colleagues about even extending the stock ban to the executive branch, to Donald Trump, to J.D. Vance, or perhaps even to the Supreme Court. So we're committed to this issue as Democrats. We want to make it happen. The only open question about whether we're going to move forward and deal with this aspect of cleaning up corruption in this town, a congressional stock ban, is whether Republicans have the will to partner with us in a bipartisan way. Thank you, everyone.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
And welcome to the Wisconsin Live Desk for this third hour. It is a Tuesday, and guess what? The holidays, they are just rushing towards us. We don't have a lot of time to do the shopping, and a lot of us, myself included, have done a lot of my shopping online. So I'm expecting packages, I'm getting notifications about the delivery times, so on and so forth. But in that email dump, there's also a possibility that I may be seeing some scams. You may be seeing that too. We are going to talk with the Better Business Bureau, Lisa Schiller, this afternoon about ways to avoid scams and to spot them right off the bat. Hey, Lisa.
Hi, Kim Murphy. How are you?
It's so good to see you. I don't know if folks at home know, but you are an OG Fox 6er.
Yes, love FOX6, and I am an OG.
Yeah.
Happy to be.
Worked with Contact 6 and Katrina Cravey. So let's talk about these scams. You see them, and they look, first of all, they look urgent.
Yeah, so they look urgent, and they also look legitimate. I mean, you know, that's how much they've evolved really through the years. We're seeing a variety of different text messages being reported, and they are fake. So the variety is the first type of message that we're seeing on our phones is a text message from what appears to be a delivery driver. So he might give his name, like, "Hey, this is John, just contacting you because I need a little attention. Can you do me a favor and call me?" And if you call the number, that's when you're asked for personal information like your name and your address. They might even ask for credit card information. And there's a little bit of a twist to this one, because if you say that you don't remember ordering anything or you don't have any deliveries that you're expecting, a lot of times we're hearing that the response is that the package gift from a friend or a relative. So you can see how people would easily fall for this.
So because I've been on the other end of this where it happens so fast that you don't realize it first, and it's like in the middle of giving info that I'm like, oh, this, I need to stop. If they are successful in getting your name and your address, should you worry, and what should you do?
Well, if it gets in the hands of an unknown person, we don't know where that information will go. So you will be susceptible to identity theft. So our advice would be to absolutely monitor all of your credit cards, bank statements, everything, as best as you can. And for as long as possible, question everything that raises a red flag. A lot of times these scammers, if they get a hold of your credit card information, for example, they will start out with a very small charge, hoping that you don't notice it, or you skim over your credit card bill and you see something for $1.99 or $3 or something small, and they hope that you don't question it. And a lot of times people don't. So our advice is question everything that you don't recognize.
That is good advice. And I, again, have been a victim of someone trying to use my card. And thankfully, my bank sent me a notification saying, hey, is this you? Did you do this? And then that actually flagged that someone somehow got my number, even though I had the physical card. Let's move on to porch pirates. Every month, there is no special time when they're active, but Christmas time, there's a lot of things that are being sent. What can you do to avoid your things being taken off your doorstep?
Yeah, and like you said, we see this all year round, but especially right now during the holidays, it's a crime of opportunity. So there are more packages on more steps and in more hallways of buildings than ever, these months, November, December. So absolutely, I think the first rule of thumb is to don't leave unattended packages. If you're expecting a package, attempt to, reschedule the delivery when you're home, when you'll be home, or, when a neighbor can take the package in for you. I think the good thing now is that, when we're expecting a package that we've purchased, an item that we've purchased, you generally get a text message letting you know it left the warehouse or it has now arrived. And so that is all, very, very helpful. But there's still opportunity out there. So ask your neighbors if they mind holding onto the packages that are delivered if you're not going to be home. And some retailers, like Amazon, for example, They offer garage delivery. That's something a little bit new now, where you can avoid having packages sitting out in the open, and they can actually deliver it into your garage.
That's pretty cool. And I also know that some retailers, you can pick a spot to pick it up, like a CVS or an Ulta Beauty. So it's being delivered someplace that's convenient for you, but it's not at your house sitting there for someone to just drive by and pick it up.
Right, exactly. And that's all, customizing your delivery, which is great advice. You can, add specific delivery notes to your order. When you place the order, you can use your delivery company's app or website. You can even, reschedule the delivery for another day or time when you know you'll be home to get it.
Are there any other scams that we really need to be on the lookout for in the month of December?
Oh, so many. I mean, right now, online shopping is so prevalent, more prevalent than any other time of the year. And, we see online shopping scams on a daily basis. And oftentimes it's hard to tell if you are on a legitimate website or not, for the average person. I feel like I look at them, I can spot them right away because I see so many of them on a daily basis. But you really have to be careful who you're shopping with. We see those ads pop up, especially on social media. Yes. And, they know our likes, right? And they know, that we see those cute shoes. And I know I am, guilty of wanting to click, and I have to stop myself. And I look at the name of the company and I go, oh, I don't know this business. And take the name, take the URL and pop it into BBB's website, see if we have a report. Also, you can take a look at that website, make sure there's contact information, full contact information, and double check it. Call that phone number, Google the address, make sure they're legitimate, run the name through Google, put the name of the business that they're claiming to be and scams. And see what comes up, if people are reporting it. So there are a number of different things you can do to be extra cautious.
That is such a great tip because, again, everything that you're talking about, I have found myself in that situation and unfortunately haven't done the smartest thing. So I'm on Instagram, I see a really cute hair accessory. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna buy it. I go ahead and buy it. Turns out it's shipping from China, and there's no customer service. There's no way to cancel the order. I just have to, again, watch my statement and hopefully that nothing bad comes from that. But I thought I was just making a simple, purchase on Instagram, and it turns out it's a lot more complicated.
Yeah, yes, that has happened to me as well. And that is very true. I mean, even, when you're purchasing from Amazon, a lot of times, I have a 21-year-old daughter, so she'll purchase something and it will arrive 2-3 months later.
Months later.
Generally overseas. From China. And, we have tried to help her return items in the past. And, it's a third party. So, and oftentimes you don't even know it. So, you can't be too careful when shopping online, really. There are so many situations out there, and a lot of these items that are coming are counterfeit, which is a whole nother topic for another live desk.
Yes. All right, Lisa, thank you so much for your time. I know there is so much going on right now, and you're getting probably so many calls from businesses and consumers. Thank you for the information. It will help. I know it's going to help me.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, have a happy holiday.
You as well, Kim.
Lisa Schiller from the Better Business Bureau. And again, just so many things to be on the lookout for. We find that our social media and the internet, it's great. It makes shopping so convenient. We can buy whatever we want. We can find it where we want. It may not be at this store, but there also is a dark side to it, or a cautionary side to it, and that is that scammers know that that's where you're going to be. They know your likes, and all it takes is a click, and before you know it, you can be on a site, a different site, that then is fishing for your information. And when you find yourself perhaps entering your information in for a second time, like you clearly typed in your account number, and it's asking again, for me, that's the red flag to get off of that site. Something's not right. It shouldn't be this difficult. And again, that's when I, contact my credit card. You can put a temporary stop or have your card flag every time there's a purchase. That's one way to keep things safe so that you can monitor what's going on just in case it was a bad site. But you cannot be too careful. And I'm waiting, cute little hair accessory I saw. I was like, it's supposed to make, putting your hair back easy and, classy and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, oh, okay, $3.99. I cannot go wrong for that, right? Click, bought it. And then I looked and I'm like, where is this coming from? Where is this shipping from? China. And then I tried to cancel. There's no way to cancel. There's no way to track my order. There's just learn from my mistakes. Just be careful, as Lisa said. If you are shopping online or shopping through social media sites, fine. Take the name of that company, go to www, try to find that company, and look. Go to the home. What is it when they say find out about us? Where is this company based? Is there a customer service number? What is their return policy? What is their shipping policy? Because as I was doing this after I placed the order, it says in fine print something like it may take up to 3 months to ship. Well, if I had known that, I definitely would not have ordered the hair clip. So was it worth it? I don't even know if it's going to work. When it finally arrives in 2026, I'll have to bring it here on the live desk and do a little demo to see if it was worth it, the risk and the wait. You're watching the Wisconsin Live Desk. We're going to take you to a Senate hearing that is happening about the rights of music artists, performers, and digital technology, and how many are fearful that their livelihoods are being stolen by AI and they're not getting any of the proceeds, the money, the royalties from that. So let's take you to this hearing and listen on what's going on.
With the theme song, Don't Worry, Be Happy, which was brilliant, by the way.
That is correct.
When that song is played on a streaming service, you're able to identify where the royalties should go, and as the chair was saying, do so very rapidly, very quick order. Let's say that song is played on terrestrial radio. Are there any challenges to being able to determine when that's being played, providing the same kind of mechanism for compensation that you do with the streaming services?
The mechanics behind doing that, Senator, would not be that difficult at all. As you well know, we already receive much of the data about plays and artists and songs when almost all of these FM stations rebroadcast online. So in a way, we're already paying for the digital part of their business. And the FM part of their business is the much larger part, $14 billion a year, and the mechanics of getting the payments out would be quite doable.
Thank you. Mr. Hinton, there are provisions in the bill that are designed to try to help smaller broadcasters. Tell us, if you would, why you believe those provisions are not workable. For, I think, college stations, it might be $100. For smaller stations, it might be $500. Why are those carve-outs not adequate for the smaller stations? And for the larger stations, why shouldn't they pay the compensation to the artists they're airing?
Well, the $500 exemption is going to apply to a small number of stations, but there are over 4,000 FM stations in the country, including some of mine, that would not fall under that exemption. And there are a lot of small market broadcasters right now that are barely hanging on. And understand, it's not $500, it's another $500 on top of FCC regulatory fees and all the PROs that we're already paying. Radio stations are being inundated with PRO fees. Senator Tillis and I have had this conversation for the last couple of years. The whole landscape, the ecosystem that's worked for 100 years is under strain because streaming services are a problem for the performers. They're a problem for radio stations. We are competing with streaming services that are owned by the largest big tech companies in the world. And our revenues as a result of that are dropping. BIA, who is the organization that tracks revenues for the broadcast industry, this is a very important fact. You may not be aware. Since 2019, radio's gross receipt revenue has decreased 20%.
So let me give you a little bit. Whoa, Delaney, what happened there? Holy cow.
So
That was.
small market radio stations
Want to
can't
try that
take
again?
any more
Let's
fees.
see.
It's not 500, it's another 500
Okay.
on top of everything else that we're paying.
Huh.
And I'll tell you, anybody that
You're on the
thinks
Wisconsin Live Desk,
$500
so
is
this
a
is what
small
makes it
chunk of
awesome.
change
So now
has
this
never
is the
had to
part
run
of the
a small
day where
market
I am
radio
just
station.
punching buttons. All right.
You'd ask if you want to make a brief
All right.
comment in response
We're
to,
grounded. What I was trying to say before I did that magic trick, which I'm not sure how I did, this is a Senate subcommittee happening right now in D.C. on music in the digital age. So here is the crux of what's going on. The debate is whether local radio stations should have to pay royalties to artists and labels like streaming services. That's a move that's supported by creators, but one that's opposed by broadcasters. Gene Simmons is one of the artists who is testifying before this committee. And so it is a question. And you hear from some of the senators saying that small radio markets are already struggling to stay afloat and to stay local. And if they are now having to, or in the future would have to pay royalties to artists for playing their songs, that might be the end of those stations. So Congress is also overseeing the effectiveness of a 2018 move, which modernized music licensing, but still faces challenges in the implementation. Now we have the digital age, and there's growing interest in how AI is going to impact music creation, royalties, artists' rights. So there's a lot going on here, but you have witnesses from the broadcasters, NAB, artists like Gene Simmons, some CEOs, music publishers, and tech companies all set to testify. So let's go back and listen in to some of the testimony.
What kind of contact you get on a week-to-week basis with the recording industry and music labels? And if you don't mind, I'd like to read a couple of lines from that email. 16 exclamation point. That's the number of record label representatives I've communicated with over the past 5 days. 4 of them are at the vice president level or higher. The reason? They want airplay from our radio stations. Based on the ratings research provided by Nielsen and Eastland, and I've done the math, our radio station alone can match the exposure of an artist a song gets with 30,000 streams in 1 week with just a handful of spins in primetime listening. And one other thing I'd like to respond to is the issue that Senator Blackburn brought up regarding her letter to the chairman of the FCC for payola. First and foremost, I would say, in my experience, and I've been in this business a long time, Senator, I have never, my experience has been exactly the opposite of what you are describing. It's normally artists coming to radio stations wanting us to provide promotion for something that they're promoting with a relief concert or something. Just like happened with us after Hurricane Matthew, the Avett brothers came to us and said, will you help us promote a hurricane relief concert, which we did and raised $365,000. I can tell you this, that we take the issue of payola very seriously. NAB has a policy. We all follow it. We are very serious about following payola and not breaking any federal laws, especially that one.
Last question for you, or from me. Have you modeled what the economic impact would be on your stations, or has NAB done any modeling on what the economic impact would be on various stations if this bill is ratified?
Well, let me start with this, Senator. The radio industry is free over the air. When we hear about these other streaming services that are paying performers' rights, remember this, they can pass their fees on to
I get that. But I'm trying to get at is the economic impact and what stimulated, this is from my staff notes.
Well,
what
again,
stimulated
you and I have had this conversation before. What I think we should be advocating for is for Congress to take a look at the entire ecosystem.
Well, I got you.
All PROs.
But I'm just trying to get back to the NAB in particular. I wouldn't expect you and your radio station to have done some modeling about what the impact would be.
You're asking me for a percentage of how it would impact us?
I'm trying to get, we've already, there's a stipulation that some of the smaller market or college radio stations be either $100 or $500 impact. So I'm trying to get that's not a lot. It would have a de minimis impact in terms of performers' compensation. I'm just trying to get a sense of what this would represent to a radio station like yours that would not necessarily enjoy the carve-out or the exemption. roughly what it's going to cost? And I would assume you can just do a look back.
If you're just joining us on the Wisconsin Live Desk, you're listening to a subcommittee. This is very interesting because most of us stream music. We pay for it, whether it be for service or a digital download of an album or something, album, CD that we like. Right now, when you listen to the radio, you get to hear those songs. You don't get to control how you hear those songs, you know, in what order. That's the advantage of streaming. You can choose how long you want to listen to that artist, which artist. You can kind of make your own mix. Radio, it just comes on, but it's free. Artists saying that this is antiquated, that radio stations should also have to pay royalties to artists, the same as digital streaming services. So this is the debate. There is a proposed American Music Fairness Act. It would require AM and FM radio stations to pay royalties to artists, making radio the same as kind of a, not kind of, it would make it like a digital streaming services. It would bring that in line. Broadcasters argue, though, that this would financially strain local stations, and while artists and labels argue that it's just fair compensation, right now these outlets are playing their music for free, and they're not getting a cent from it. So you're hearing the back and forth of this subcommittee.
By the people that set the rates for this. We could debate whether there's promotion or not. I mean, as you heard earlier, 85% of all revenue comes from streaming. I think you've heard Mr. Hinton say twice that they compete with those streaming platforms now. It's no longer about promotion, it's about competing. And one last point, Mr. Chairman, let's say there is promotion, hypothetically. I don't know why that should be a free ticket to take people's property with neither permission nor payment. Radio broadcasts Major League Baseball games. It is undoubtable that that increases the promotion for baseball. It raises the value of the franchise. And no one for a minute would suspect or suggest that they don't get licensed by Major League Baseball. I don't know why music should be any different.
Thank you. My time is over. Before I recognize Senator Padilla, I think Beth was a good song. It was Peter Criss who sang leads, the drummer. Senator Padilla.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you to all the witnesses for your participation today. I do want to begin with questions for Mr. Simmons, and I especially appreciate you because you're not just here advocating for your own self-interest, you're advocating for all artists.
No, I think that's not the headline. The headline is, I've done well thanks to the American dream, and I often say, God bless America, and people think I say it for a soundbite. I'm the proud son of a concentration camp survivor, and for me, those words mean something, and we should all get over the cornball, eye-raising things and realize where we're living. This ain't about me, my friend, because I've done very well because America gave a first-generation legal immigrant the chance to do well, and it was not easy. I had to learn the language. I had to stop talking like this, dress British, think Yiddish. You know what I mean. You had to learn the culture, claw my way up to the top with three other guys that understood it, with no managers, no nothing. Do it the old-fashioned way. Roll up your sleeves. America's giving you the chance. The rest is up to you. It's not about me. I'm on top of Mount Olympus. As I said before, I was thinking of buying the building. This is about the future of our children.
I'm trying to make, because you've been blessed and you've done well. And I think there's a misperception in the general public that most artists, if they kind of recognize the name, oh, they must have made it. They're all on top of Mount Olympus, but that's not the case. So what I want to hear from you is kind of reflect back to the earlier stages of your career. What would these type of royalty payments mean for emerging artists who are trying to build their career?
Every little bit helps. At the outset, I understand that a brand new artist isn't necessarily going to help a radio station get to a point, but perhaps I scratch your back. When they get bigger, they'll be more appreciative of WXRP or whatever that's called, and say, you were there for me then, I'm going to be, you know, sort of, it's about relationships. But if you work hard, the American way is you must get paid. You cannot verbally or otherwise, ethically, morally, and perhaps once this bill is passed, legally, validate the notion that somebody who works hard is going to get nothing, while a corporate entity, well-meaning though it may be, is receiving $14 billion just this last year.
And as you articulated in your opening remarks, there's a reason this is called the American Music Fairness Act, because the way
we're not asking
unfair. Hold on,
That's
if
right.
it was unfair decades ago, is it more or less fair today, given the change in technology, the change in the industry? It's not just radio
It's
revenue
more
or
unfair.
not.
It's more unfair now because once 1988 or so, when Napster started downloading and all that, and remember, we're only talking about in this bill AM, FM. We're not talking about streaming or anything else. That's for another bill, another time with other folks. It's a simple idea. My friend, when I go on the highways of America, is my radio station, and I'll turn to AM or FM to hear the music I want to hear, and they're playing it and charging advertising and so on. The people who are on that, who are singing my favorite song, are getting zero for that performance. That's got to change. I don't know if I answered your question, but I thought I was profound anyway.
Absolutely, absolutely. My last question, my time remaining, is for Mr. Huppy. Can you talk, we've focused on radio station owners, the broadcasters, we focus on artists. Are there other folks in the industry who stand to benefit from this bill, as Mr. Simmons says, not if, but when it is passed and signed into law? Do producers get impacted one way or the other, engineers, other behind-the-scenes folks?
The answer, Senator, is yes. This impacts the entire recorded side of the business. Many people participate in the creation of a recording. It's a huge part, it's a huge investment for the industry. It's what we all listen to when we turn on the radio. So, you know, it's artists and record labels, studio producers, background musicians, background
So I hesitate to break away from this subcommittee. It's really interesting because I think it's something that affects most of us who doesn't listen to music in some form, whether it is on the radio or if it's a streaming service that you have. So much has changed so rapidly with the digital age, and so now there is a push for fairness in music in the digital age. And you heard there from Gene Simmons. He said, I'm fine. You know, I've done well in my career, but I am advocating for new artists, artists who have yet to make it, whose music makes it to the radio, but they're not getting a cent from it. So he is advocating that radio stations, AM and FM radio stations, pay royalties for playing music, just like a streaming service pays royalties to the artists for streaming their music. So very interesting on this. And you've got to think that there has to be some kind of movement on this because things have just changed. You know, this is free radio is almost becoming a dinosaur. You know, when radio was in its heyday, there was no competition. There was no other way to listen to music if it wasn't live than on your radio, you know, or if you had a, you know, a record player or a CD player or something like that. But the point is that there was no, that was the model, is that radio was free. But now we've entered this stage, and have been for a while, where you actually have to pay for music from your artists, and they get money from that. And the way that we share music, the model had to change, because if I, you know, own something that I have downloaded, I can just burn a CD or whatever, and I can share that music. And so the artist doesn't get that cut. So it is so important that they get something from the streamers, and the same they're arguing needs to apply for radio stations. So if you're watching right now on Fox Local, shoot me an email. Let me know what you think about this. Kim.Murphy@fox.com. Let me know, do you think radio stations should have to pay the artist for playing their songs? The radio stations Broadcasters say that this is going to put such a burden on radio stations, especially local radio stations that are already struggling to find a model to stay competitive against streamers. But you hear from Mr. Simmons saying, hey, you know, it's time that artists get paid for their music on the radio. So again, shoot me an email. Let me know that you're watching and what you think about this. Kim.Murphy@fox.com. Let's listen in a little bit, and then we're going to break for a minute, and we're going to come back and talk about the new Wisconsin license plates. 2 new license plates will be available. One's retro and one is the blackouts license plate. We'll show you what they look like and have more on that. But let's listen to a little bit of Gene Simmons once again.
We're going to have to move to Senator Welch. Okay, if you've got a solution for that, we'd like to see the bill text.
I've been enjoying the concert.
No charge.
All right, there's 2 values. All right, radio is incredibly important, and it's a lot of stress. But local radio, especially, I think is really important because our communities don't have the glue that holds them together, and local radio can do that. You mentioned the radio that was done to help raise money for aid, but we can't have radio without artists, and artists struggle, and you know, the proposition that it's free because the radio is free, that's like, you know, tech is saying it's free Gmail, but there are a lot of other collateral consequences that we have very little control over.
Welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk. I wanted to pop up Delaney. Delaney, I am having such a day, or maybe this is just me every day. I'm just like pressing all kinds of buttons.
I think it happens.
Okay.
You're in control back there of so many different things. It's hard to remember.
It's hard to remember, and I don't know. I didn't have a couple days off, but it feels like I've been away from the desk for a little bit, and so every time it's like, oh yeah, okay. And then by the time I get into a groove, then it'll be another 7 days before I'm back. So anyway, thanks for hanging in there with me. Gonna take a break here on the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Wisconsin Live Desk.
Welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk. Got a little bit of a throwback that may not be a throwback for very long. Do you remember this? I remember these plates. I mean, Wisconsin has gone through a couple design changes. We've always been America's Dairyland, but this cheddar cheese, yellow plate was something that I saw when, these is what plates look like when I grew up. Well, guess what? They're going to be available again starting in January. Retro plates are coming back. It's part of the budget that was passed, and you can get a retro plate if that's what you're into. Certainly eye-catching. Two plates are actually being released. It's the retro plate and the blackout plate. The blackout plate kind of looks like the Road America plate, but it doesn't have the outline of the track. So it's pretty cool. So if you're looking for, something a little bit different for your car and you want a different license plate, the blackout will look like the Road America, again, like I said, but it won't have the outline of the Elkhart Lake track. The yellow plate, Governor Evers says, oh, there's the blackout plate there. I might get that one. That's pretty cool. It is going to cost you a little bit more. It costs to be cool. $15 extra when it's issued, and then every year after that it's $25. But these plates will be available starting in January, and wouldn't you know, my tags are expiring in January, so I might actually go and get that. But those are some pretty cool designs. Wisconsin actually has 60 different license plates, some for universities, some for the environment, some for the military. So this adds to that. So there's now 62 plus designs if you want to get something a little bit more distinctive than the regular plate, but pretty cool. The old school plates, and this is courtesy of our assignment editor, Mark. He actually hung on to his plates. I don't know if they let you do that anymore, because I don't have any of my old plates. I think when I got new plates, I either had to leave them with the dealer or give them at DMV or whatever. So I don't know if we're able to hang on to plates, but who knew? He did. What was this, from 1986? He was like, you know what? I'm going to save this because one day this is going to be really cool. Took a little while, but it's cool again. I'll be interested. I can see this on a truck. I'm not sure if well, I don't know. To each his own. You may want to rep America's Dairyland that way. But not bad. For me, I'm going with that blackout plate. So what else is going on? Governor Evers busy with his pen today, signing 34 bills into law. Some pretty significant ones. The first has to deal with trafficking, human trafficking and trafficking of children. It increases the penalties for those who are convicted of those crimes, and it also increases the statute of limitations, meaning that a person now has more time to share with law enforcement crimes that happened. So the time limit where a victim can come forward now has increased, giving them more time to come forward. Sometimes these things, again, if we're talking about child trafficking, happens when a child is very young, and there is only a window when a person can bring charges against the perpetrator. But now with this Act 56, it increases trafficking penalties, and it also increases the statute of limitations. And then another law, this has to do with the move-over law. So Wisconsin already has a move-over law. It is the law when there is an official vehicle with the lights on, you are required to move over. We're talking about law enforcement, state patrol, fire engines, EMS. You are required to move over. Well, now with Act 54, it expands this to disabled vehicles. Should have been the law. What took so long? AAA is applauding this move. So if there is a disabled vehicle on the interstate, you have to move over. This is now the law in Wisconsin. Wisconsin now joins 30 other states in making this law. It only makes sense. You know, you don't know if a person who's in that disabled vehicle that's on the shoulder is going to get out. If there's a tow truck that arrives on the scene, that's really not enough room for them to safely operate to get that vehicle on a tow truck, move over. I already do, because I do not want to ever, ever, ever be in that situation where I've caused bodily harm to somebody because I just didn't make a smart decision and move over. So this is just common sense, but now it's the law. Move over. If there is a disabled vehicle, you see the flashing lights, you see it ahead, or you see a car that, I mean, you know, the hazards are on, move over. Okay? Do it before you get right up to that vehicle. It's just the safest thing for you. It's the safest thing for that driver, for the tow operators, for anybody that's responding to the scene. So that is something that now is a Wisconsin law. It is Act 54. Again, a busy day for the governor, signing 34 different bills into law, but those are two that really kind of stuck out with me that are very important. One dealing with sex trafficking, increasing the punishment for those convicted of the crime, and also increasing the statute of limitations for victims to come forward so that their attackers, their traffickers can be brought to justice. There's a larger window, a longer window for them to be able to do that. So that's what's going on the state level. What else is happening? Oh, Powerball is rising. The next drawing is tomorrow evening, Wednesday. It's now close to it's $930 million it's growing to, and by tomorrow it could be even more. Some people, I know, you have to wait until it's $1 billion before you go for it. $930 million is not a bad take home. So that is happening. You might want to do that if you feel a little bit lucky. Play some numbers, or it's a great, or actually, I don't know. If you have an office Christmas party, let's say tomorrow, perfect little stocking stuffer. Get a Powerball ticket. Get a couple Powerball tickets, and that's, you know, wishing you big dreams, you know, in 2026. It's a nice gift. It only works if your party is tonight or tomorrow, because after tomorrow, of course, the drawing will have happened, and then it's like, wah, wah, this is an expired ticket. So anyway, so that is what is going on. I'm looking around the matrix to see what else is happening. Not too much. We are, you know, closing in on the holidays, and so business everywhere gets a little slower around this time, but we're listening into a very interesting subcommittee hearing on digital royalties and radio stations paying those royalties. And we heard from Gene Simmons, representing some artists, or as an artist, saying that, you know, this is something that needs to happen. And so let's take you back to that and listen in a little bit more.
Also flourish. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Schiff.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Hinton, I just wanted to underscore something that Peter Welch said earlier. I certainly have no interest in demonizing radio broadcasters, local radio. I admire what you do. I like what you do. I listen to it all the time. I'm a fan, and I understand there's enormous financial pressure on your industry, particularly with the explosion of these streaming services, and you're competing with the giants. So I just want to let you know I acknowledge all the concerns that you've raised. I think we've tried to strike a fair balance in this, but I am mindful of the financial pressure you describe, and I don't want to act as if we're not aware of that. And as you say, there have been ways in which your industry and artists have collaborated and come together on things like the No Fakes Act and other legislative initiatives, and I'm grateful for that kind of collaboration. I think it's really important. Mr. Simmons, I want to ask you, there was probably a point in your career, as there is in almost every musician, where you wondered, are we really going to be able to make a go of this? Am I going to be able to earn a living this way? At that critical crossroads where probably a lot of artists decide they just can't make a go of it, what would it mean to have that additional revenue from hearing their works performed on the radio? Can you tell us what that moment was like, if you ever experienced that? Maybe you knew from the beginning you were going to be a hit no matter what, so maybe you're the exception, but tell us what that moment was like for you, if you experienced it, and what it means to others to have that little extra help to get you to the next level.
At the outset of any career, all those pennies, bits and pieces are so important. It sometimes is the difference between success and failure. There was a band that just recently announced, a band called Garbage, successful. They sold 1 million records of something. Shirley Manson, the lead singer, announced they were quitting the music business because for them it was not financially feasible. There are different income streams. When you play a concert, if you do well, you do well. There are some bands that do better in concerts, like the Grateful Dead, who didn't sell as many records, and so on. So every one of those pieces of the puzzle gives a band a chance to survive. And at the outset, as I said before, radio is important. Radio is important for both of us. Radio needs artists, and artists need radio. That's fine. I'm going to keep going back to the same old point. One of those two is making a fortune, and the other one, for doing all the hard work, is getting Zipola. I'm going to say it again. For the new artists, often it's times between, often it comes down to death or life. Those few pennies that radio would pay once this bill is passed, because I don't play with if. This will go through.
And back, we only have a couple more minutes on the live desk, so I just kind of want to do a round robin. To sum up this third hour, you're listening to Gene Simmons in a subcommittee testimony advocating that radio stations, too, should have to pay royalties to creators, to artists, to musicians, to play their music. This is something that is becoming a hot button issue in this digital age. Streamers have to pay for music. You have to pay streamers for the music. Radio is free. They say it's an antiquated model. Broadcasters say, hey, if you make us pay to play radio songs, to play songs on the radio, our stations are going to take a hit, and some of them, quite frankly, will not survive. So that's going on there. We want to listen to now. This is a situation that is happening in North Carolina. You see a reporter there from our Fox station. What we can tell you, there's been an incident at a high school there.
So we're live at the Joel Coliseum in Winston-Salem, where we have finally found the end of this terribly long and sobering line today. This is the line of people, family members, picking up their kids after just a terrible day at North Forsyth High School today. We finally found the end of the line. This has been going on for hours. Hundreds of parents, guardians coming through this line, all holding white sheets of paper in their hand, their connection to their child. They were given these white sheets of paper when they arrived here at the Joel today at the reunification site. They were to fill out the information to prove that their child is theirs, and then they just wait in this line. And then once they get inside, they get reunited with their child, and then they're released. And then it is up to the parents and the guardians to take it from there. I imagine there will be a lot of conversations happening tonight about what occurred at North Forsyth today. It was quite the day for a lot of families, a day that they won't forget. And we're going to continue to bring you coverage across the district as we work to understand what happened here today and why.
And you've just heard from that reporter there at North Forsyth High School. There was a stabbing that took place at the high school. The governor, Josh Stein, in North Forsyth, is in North Carolina, saying the stabbing took place at North Forsyth High School is shocking and horrible. I'm praying for all the students in the community and their loved ones. Those of North Carolina need to be safe wherever they are, especially in school. I have spoken with the sheriff to offer my support. We must never stop working toward a safer North Carolina. a parent whose child attends North Carolina, Forsyth, shared the following, saying that there was an emergency alert that went out. And what we can tell you is that one person is dead, one person was injured in a stabbing. And so that's breaking news that we're bringing to you on the Wisconsin Live Desk here. You heard that brief report from a reporter in North Carolina. And so I'm just going to pot this up a little bit, the volume, to see if we can just hear a little bit more. You can see that parents are lined up hoping to reunite with their students.
Okay, cool. Because I will want to, especially that woman.
Okay. And again, this is what the Live Desk is about. You get to actually hear how our reporters are gathering the stories. And one dead, this is after a fight at a high school, a stabbing in North Carolina. And so thoughts and prayers for that school community dealing with school violence. One person dead in North Carolina. Coming back here. We've got 3 minutes left in the show. Apologies for all the punches this afternoon. Sometimes you're in a rhythm and it works. Sometimes you're seeing what I'm seeing. I'm in control of everything, not just the words that are coming out of my mouth, but also the buttons and the pictures that you see. My mind it's an interesting thing. It's a skill that I have most days, that most of us in the business have, where your mouth can be saying one thing and your mind is also thinking and moving ahead. That's what it's like to be a reporter and an anchor when you're live. And sometimes those things don't sync, and sometimes there's a little bit of a lag, and that's what's happening with me today. My thoughts are here, but my motor skills aren't quite there. I want to give you a live look. When you know what, the camera just freezes. This is 45, the highway. We are in for a little bit of dicey weather. Some of us could see rain. Some of us could see a little bit of a mix. So we do have extended coverage on the Wisconsin Live Desk. Our Mary Stoker Smith will be with you from 6:30 p.m. until 9 right here on Fox Local. Settle in. You know, keep tabs on what is happening. The radar is amazing. You can watch our extended coverage on Fox Local, YouTube, and TikTok. And for more information, you can go to fox6now.com and be sure to download the mobile app. It is absolutely free, and it keeps you in the know of what is happening around Wisconsin. The other thing that we talked about, scams, very popular this time of year. We talked with Lisa Schiller. Do not be fooled by if you get a text about a delivery, someone, even if they give your name, hey, this is Leo, I need some information, I'm lost or whatever about your package. Oh, I didn't order anything. Oh, it's a gift. It's a scam that's going around. Don't offer any information, okay? And as you're shopping, know who you're shopping with, where you're ordering from. Don't get fooled into clicking on something on Instagram and you're like, oh, that'd be a great gift. It takes you to a site. You don't know who this company is, but it's a cool puzzle that you want to order for someone. And then it turns out once you go through all the checkout and you hit, buy, checkout, oh, this isn't coming from any company that you know, and it's from nowhere in the United States, and it's not going to be here for another 3 to 5 months. It's coming from overseas. So just a lot of things to be on the lookout for. Best advice is to always stay alert. Check your bank statements, check your credit card statements. Those little charges, $1.99, scammers sometimes will get your information and they'll try it out with a small purchase before they go big time with the large screen TV or the new car. Thanks for joining us on the Wisconsin Live Desk. Hey, next Tuesday, it's going to be great. We're going to have a perfect show. That's my hour, Tuesdays, 2:30 to 3:30. See ya.